We doing it live, boys! How's it going, cultists? Welcome to what would normally be On the Backs of Gods. Don't adjust your sets. I guess for you MST3K fans out there, we are just kind of doing a smallish stream tonight, a little bit different from usual. A few absentees have necessitated a little change in plans, so rather than our normally scheduled programming, we've got some Q&As for ya. Allow me to begin us off with introductions. I am Mary, I go by Mac. I play Nana Hemmingsdottir on the Backs of Gods. We have here Nathan, who is a fantastic friend of the
Hey, everybody.
Introduce yourself, would you please?
I am Nathan. I produce On the Backs of Gods. Also had the pleasure of GMing the Vampire Show on the Dice Gold last year.
Super fantastic.
You can catch it on YouTube for posterity forever.
All of it.
Yeah.
The whole thing, the VOD.
I tried to keep the train wreck pace up throughout the whole thing. So
It was
Baby was
perfect.
there.
It was
I
a
was
week of
there.
insanity in game. A week of insanity in which a bunch of baby vampires just
Destroyed a city.
put to torch an entire town, a whole city, if you will.
The timeline
Fantastic stuff.
insane.
You know,
Tale
it's
as old
what
as
we
time.
all aspire to, right?
I
right?
like to point out to Jillian how much chaos we managed in a week in that game, and just be like, we could do a lot in Gods.
No, you're right. You're
Oh,
gosh.
gosh.
We can
could,
manage
but
gotta
you
so
know,
watch out.
much.
we have slightly more compunctions, I guess, in On the Backs of Gods. I'm not sure if that's the word, but we'll see. May I
burn
pop
stuff
over
down. I need a
to
dictionary.
Greg? Greg, my good bird, would you kindly introduce yourself, my dude?
Hello, I'm Greg. Not actually a bird.
Are you sure?
Like killed in Backs of Gods. I'm pretty
Mm.
sure, but who knows? Maybe that's my persona. I don't know.
It's possible. Anything's possible. And Katie,
Yeah. I'm
last
Katie.
but certainly not least.
Yeah. I play Nyx on the Backs of Gods, and as mentioned before, I was Iris for the vampire game. One of the chaos causers.
Stalwart chaos causer. Also a fantastic monger
Still a
of
chaos
dice.
causer.
Yeah, true. I make dice.
A dice monger, if ever there was one. Katie makes fantastic, beautiful pieces. These are custom. I show these off almost every week because I love them so much. They are my Nana dice,
so
and I love them. I love them. I love them a lot. They are super good. They're just the shiny click clacks that you love so much when you play D&D, you know? So, introductions being out of the way, as well
Sponsorship
as
over.
an abundance of sponsorship shilling. I suppose let us meander into a moderate discussion of what's brought us here. What has brought us into the world of gaming? What's brought us into the world of fantasy, character creation? What moves you, my dudes? What caused you to be here? Anybody feel like
Ooh,
grabbing the torch first?
Gosh.
I feel like for me, the main thing was Jillian, the DM, but
Right.
leading up to that, I have to blame Dimension 20.
Dimension 20.
I think they were my intro into D&D.
Yeah.
And if you've
It's
seen any of
understandable.
their shows, what a chaotic intro.
Whoo boy. Good
Yeah,
golly.
especially depending on which one it was.
Right.
Yeah, no, right? They've done a lot. They've done like an evil characters campaign. They've done
Oh, yeah.
I've not
golly.
seen that one.
That one's awesome.
I
that
may
was
need
a
to
lot
watch
of
that.
fun.
Nathan, I
Oh
think you
God,
would
guys,
enjoy it.
we're just
What is it?
We'll find it.
Something
We'll
keep.
find it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I remember somebody played a fantastic Drider wizard or sorcerer, and she was badass. She was so good. Anyway, fantastic. Any additional inspirations you would like to enumerate before we move forward, Greg?
I think that's all I got for now.
That's
How
fair
did you
if
guys
you
get
think
into
of
D&D
anything
and
else.
gaming?
Yeah.
Mine's a really long story.
I mean, what are we here
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
if not to
So-
just
If
talk?
Let's go with. So, most of you know my father, but
Hmm.
he's been playing D&D for literally forever, and my earliest memory is literally being underneath the table while him and his friends were playing D&D. And
Which
then
edition?
I absolutely refused to be associated with it for any way possible until the Dice Cult started. Because
Wow,
I was just like,
dude.
I am not going to do something he does.
I am not my
Ew,
father.
Gross.
I am not my father.
Yeah. And then, I started making the dice for you all
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and still hadn't played a single session of anything. And then one day,
For how long did that go on?
until Kyle messaged me and was like, hey, there's a spot open for the vampire game. You should send Nathan a message and see if he can join. So that was my first time playing anything.
Wow,
And
really?
so this is actually
Who
my
would've
first
thought?
D&D campaign.
Welcome to the fold, my dude.
Yep.
That's pretty
Delightful.
awesome.
Yeah, so it's your fault. That I'm
Mm,
here.
Yep.
All of you.
Yep.
That colors you forever, like not starting
Yes.
with D&D.
Yes,
Right.
That's true.
it does.
I have to feel like even starting in a different edition of D&D. I'll get into that when I get into my conversation. I'd like to pick your brain, Nathan, before I do mine.
Okay.
Yeah. No, even a different edition of D&D is a weird place to start compared to now. Anyway. Anything further for you, Katie?
I don't think so. That's the short version of it all.
I was like,
so-
that wasn't too long.
I mean,
I-
I was gonna
I
say,
sped
you said
through-
this was gonna be long.
I sped through all the minor details,
Uh,
of that. I sat and watched 100-something sessions of you all playing on the
Ah,
back
yes.
of the
I
gods.
was about to say, you aren't going to pat yourself on the back for watching all of the backlog of On the Backs of Gods in preparation for this role.
I mean, I was
That's a
already
commitment.
watching it.
I
so-
understand, but you've had to go back over and watch a lot back over
I
again.
choose. I choose to rewatch stuff.
I understand
I
this, but
still rewatch stuff.
I would love to highlight the dedication. Just the dedication to the craft is mwah, chef's kiss. I love
Okay, I have an immediate follow-up question. How much of it have you watched of Dice Cult rewatched now that you're in it?
Oh, a lot.
Okay.
I know more than everybody.
You do 100%.
Jody and I talk about it all the time. I literally have a separate set of notes than everybody else with all sorts of information that
Holy
I know
shit.
that I don't think anyone remembers.
So many secrets.
And I just get to sit here because Nyx is not smart. And I'm like, well, I get to know this and feel happy about it, but she doesn't know.
No.
Like,
And has no way to tell anybody, even
it's
if she
great.
did. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
fantastic.
It's perfect. It's what we love.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Nathan, what about you? What has brought you into the gaming fold?
Oh gosh. Well, first things off, confession. I'm old. So I guess I think I bought I started at 3.0 when it came out.
Wow, nice.
So that would have been late 90s, early to
Wow.
like to 2000 almost. Yeah, probably
Dang.
99, 2000. I don't know when. I don't know when. I'm not. I haven't Wikipedia'd anything, so I don't know when it came out. But
Eh.
I think I have the 3 books, my 3.0 books. I think I have my player's handbook, and actually, I think 2 of them belong to a friend of mine, and he lent them to me when we were 17,
Well,
and I have carried them with me
Look at that.
across continents
Wow, dude, really?
for 20
That's
years.
amazing. Wow, that is commitment.
I moved back to Oklahoma, and I Facebook friended him, and we haven't really talked other than to like that one little connection. I was like, "Do you want your books
Yeah.
back?"
At all?
At all, dude.
No?
No? Guys, I was a 15-year-old kid looking for a power fantasy, and I
What
mean
was
I
your
grew up.
first character. I have to know.
Sure.
This is probably a halfling rogue.
Love it.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it so much.
I was all the bad things. I was all
Like
the bad.
Sam Riegel.
I mean, a little bit, yeah. There are things that you just don't learn until you're older
You do it. Mm.
about
Fair.
what not to do in a role playing game.
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
Especially
Engage
as a
with the other
daddy.
characters.
Mm.
Do that.
It helps. It
Yeah.
does help.
Um,
Shockingly enough, it is a social game for nerds.
Yes.
Who knew?
Yeah, I was always. I'll just foreshadow like. So this was the late '90s. So it was the absolute heyday of World of Darkness, but I was never allowed to
Right.
play because that was an adults only game, and I was
Of
15.
course.
And they were all hoity-toity at the local game store where we played. So it was like, and we would all be out like till like 2 or 3 in the morning, playing
Yeah.
D&D, and they would just be someplace else, right?
I guess. That's crazy, though. Oh my goodness. What was your favorite one coming up? What has been your favorite system that you've played with, coming up through a lot of different systems over the years?
I actually, this feels almost like a show. I really actually like Vampire 5th Edition a lot. People will, fight to the death on the internet over that. It's an unpopular opinion. But my absolute favorite setting is Legend of the Five Rings 4th Edition.
Wow.
It's just a brilliantly balanced, perfectly balanced D10 system. It's and it's kind of rooted in Eastern culture, and it really explores like it heavily explores the scenario where a leader lies and everyone knows they're lying and everyone goes along with it, and I love that.
Interesting.
I love the fact that you can know that someone is lying. Maybe it's for the right reason, maybe it's for the wrong reason, maybe that's something that's subjective for you to decide, but you can't just call them on it.
Right.
Yeah.
even if you have them dead to rights and it makes perfect sense, no one's gonna believe you, no one's gonna go along with it, and that's how status works.
Oh, golly.
And the more you look around in real life, like, does it kind of
That
work that
is-
way?
That might be
You know?
founded in some reality.
Coming from a
Yikes.
theater background, I gotta say that is some very Les Miserables turning vibes right there.
Oh.
The deep cut for anybody who's a fan of, mid 80s, 90s
yeah.
musical hits and so on. I suppose, Nathan, unless there was anything else you had to add, my friend.
Just that I had that was about like an actual decade-long L5R campaign
Whoa.
with a single
A
group
decade long.
that went through 2 generations of characters.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. Oh my goodness. That's so cool.
What a long life.
Incredible. You love to see it, honestly. You
Yeah.
love to see characters kind of get to play out the
Right.
threads of their lives. So
Live
interesting.
long enough to become the villain. We had some just
Yeah.
straight up heroes
Oh.
that lived long enough to become the villain.
No
Great.
shit. Oh, so sad. Oh, yum. That pathos.
Yeah.
Eat that up.
Slow burn.
Delicious. Well, I suppose then I will go ahead and roll on to my portion. My first role playing of any significant merit, I guess, as far as tabletop goes, although I've done some weird games over the years. Ask me sometime about the Sherlock Holmes Baker Street Irregulars role playing game that I got into with my family as a kid sometime. But as far as more mainstream role playing goes, gosh, the numbers always do me so dirty. I never remember all the numbers well, but I started off with D&D. I believe it was 3.5 edition before 4 came out and was largely decried and then was swiftly swept under the rug in favor of 5e. Am I remembering the course of events correctly?
Yeah, that
Sounds
seems
like
it.
accurate.
Yeah. So I started off with 3.5e with a bunch of friends in college. Played a thinly veiled self-insert that was rogue with, repressed issues and alcoholism. And I was wondering, golly gee, I wonder where she's getting all this from. Surprise, surprise, undiagnosed ADHD does an awful lot for your psyche when you're trying to write some interesting characters. Anyhow, from there, I've done a lot. I've played a bit of Pathfinder here and there some years back. I got to play in a vampire game, just a one-off in like live LARP play, which I had never done before. I was petrified, but it was fascinating to try out. Which one was I? The crazy ones, the ones that prophesy and such.
Malkavians.
Malkavian.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Malkavian. So, I just kind of got to beat bop around and smile and nod along with the music and say vaguely threatening things in a sing-song voice. It was great. Coming into the Dice Cult specifically was thanks to recommendation from Jillian, who I roommated with, along with Greg, for some years. She ran some D&D 5e campaigns for us in our apartment with some friends. For a few years, we played 2 at least full-ish campaigns altogether over those couple of years. Fantastic stuff. And of course, when
Wild.
there was a call to go out for the Dice Cult wanting people to play in a game on Monday nights that was Norse-inspired, I was like, well, golly gee. That sure does sound interesting. Why don't I just kick in for that? And here I am.
Here you are.
So,
So was the apartment game, was that was 5th edition?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Both of our apartment game campaigns that we played all the way through was 5th edition.
Yeah.
We played a
haven't
few other
really
interesting
gone into
games
anything
together.
else, though.
Not very much, no. I'd like to get into more campaign, more systems. I've been intrigued by stuff that, like, the Adventure Zone has dabbled in. What is it? The preparation year? The planning
yeah.
year?
Yeah.
The thing that they did in
haven't listened to that
preparation
one.
for the Ether Sea arc, where they built their world using a game system, which I was like, fun stuff to me. I think that's always interesting. If you gamify any process that requires any amount of brain concentration from me, I'm there. Gamify it, I will do it. So that fascinated me. I'd love to get more into World of Darkness games. I got to play a brief game of Geist. I was so down for that game. I was excited for my character. It all fell apart because of scheduling.
Wow.
Scheduling is the hardest boss.
Adulting.
Yeah.
We shall move on from such dire things. I guess to more specifically, what inspired us to make our characters like we did? Nathan's got some slightly more open-ended question pertaining to that. I don't know if y'all wanted to go in any certain order, but just sort of vibe about what has influenced your character going into our game together.
Gosh.
I know. Like,
I know. No, there's a lot to.
To make sure that's not said, you know? But
yeah.
I mean, I could say general vibes for Nyx. Like I said, I've watched the show for so long, and so I got to sit here and I was like, what would be really fun to make them have to spend time with? And I instantly was like, what would make them the most suspicious immediately?
Uh-huh.
That was
Which,
like
you
the
know-
opposite.
And then I was like, wow, this Circle of Spores druid sounds like it'd be terrible to meet in this world. Let's
I mean,
go with that.
legitimately
the
a
most
little bit
sus?
terrifying on first blush, I will say. Like, bubbling under the surface, I will say Nana was containing some of her reaction upon learning the exact specification of Nyx's druidic abilities, considering some of her experiences, but you know.
Yeah. You guys are too nice.
We just want to be friends
Such
with
a
people.
welcoming gang.
So welcoming. You
You
didn't
know,
shoot me.
I think if Roshan was not so wrapped up in his own stuff right now,
Yeah.
he would definitely take it upon himself to be like the CIA for this group.
100%. Yeah, if he weren't already
and,
like,
and he would be, Nyx would be under surveillance.
I feel like that's probably
I don't
true.
sleep because I'm watching.
Yes. Yes. No, I think
mean-
before all this popped off with the shadow, yeah, I think.
Fen would do it too, but he would be bad at it. Like Roshan would
Yeah.
like
Right.
be
just
good
sit
at
up
it.
at night and just do his normal thing and just watch.
Nick's just drinking something. Finn, explain yourself.
Ah!
What is that?
What do you think you're doing with that? Drinking?
Nothing suspicious over here at all.
No, nothing whatsoever. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I feel like my
So-
inspiration was being like knowing what the party was going through and being like, how can I help?
Yep.
I love that. I love that impulse. I like honestly, God bless you. These poor idiots need all the help that they can get. Truly. We're just a bunch of disasters. 2 on the Enneagram, yes. I suppose it is worth maybe mentioning Enneagram stuff here. For those who aren't aware, the Enneagram test is one of those personality tests. Not the same as the Myers-Briggs. It is kind of that type of test where it sort of analyzes how you interact with others, what you prioritize, what matters to you, and then assign you a thing on a graph that tells you what kind of a person
Your
you are
own
based on the
personal
number
graph.
on the graph. Yes. It's okay. And there's a lot of interesting ideas to it. And I think it's fun for character study purposes. Don't read too far into it, kids. But for the purposes of the Enneagram test, people wind up divided into 9 different character archetypes or personality archetypes. 1 is the reformer, they're idealistic, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. Can't imagine who that sounds like. Number 2 is the helper, the caring interpersonal type, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, and possessive. Number 3 is the achiever. They are the success-oriented, pragmatic type. They're adaptive, they excel, they are driven, and they are image-conscious. I think that rather suits Nana a little bit too well, thank you very much. Uncomfortable to me. Number 4 is the individualist. They are the sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. Number 5 is the investigator. The intense, cerebral type, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. Number 6 is the loyalist. I know, right? Things leap into your brain as you hear them, right? That's what's
thinking
lovely about this, you know?
out loud.
Number 6 is the loyalist, the committed, security-oriented type. They are engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. Number 7, the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. Wonder who
Russ?
that makes me think of. I mean, us as a party as a whole, yes, 100%. But
yeah.
also, I was thinking of Saga,
Oh,
specifically as an individual. Golly gee, what an enthusiast. Down to her very bones. I love her so much. Number
do you
8, the
miss that
challenger.
enthusiasm?
Oh my god, I know. Oh,
Yeah.
Number 8 is the challenger. They are the powerful, dominating type. They're self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. I wonder who we've recently had a conversation with where they maybe came across a little bit that way. Number 9 is the peacemaker. They are the easygoing, self-effacing type. They are receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. Any of these types, you wind up with one of these as your primary, and another one as kind of a secondary personality influence that's called a wing. And these wings can have kind of like an expression where you are not being very healthy with your mentality and your emotions and how you're interacting with people, and a different expression with a different wing that is more healthy. And so there's a lot of interesting interplay between the types in the Enneagram system. Hence why they make for interesting as, character study tools, if nothing else.
Yeah.
We've recently been indulging in some music inspired by the Enneagram test. We're not sponsored by them, but if you look up Sleeping at Last, they have an entire album entitled Enneagram, and each song is thematic for each of the Enneagram types. And they will give you all of the feels for the characters that spring to mind with regards to that song. I guarantee I have sobbed over at least 3.
At least.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sobbing.
Needless to say, I know! Goodness!
We had group sob sessions, listening to it together.
Honestly, it's true. It's true. If y'all ever want to join on for a Spotify listen session, just cry through the whole Enneagram album. We'll spawn
We'll
that.
do it. We can do
do
it.
We have the power. I mean, maybe sometime. Maybe not on a Monday, but we'll see.
Gonna say, sounds like a Monday
Right
night to me.
before the game.
Yeah. That's the pregame. Here we go. The pre-stream stream, y'all. That's what you all want, right? That's what the youth want.
So next Monday, when the people show up and 4 people will have red eyes,
You know what?
3 of them were crying, 1 of them was blazing.
Yes. I mean, the one that was blazing probably also cried.
I was gonna say one might have been both.
One might have been
So
both.
all
It's
cry,
possible.
one blaze.
Yep. It's how we do, It's inevitable. If not
And I'd
Christo,
probably just
then
have cat hair in my eye.
I mean, it's inevitable. When you have, is it 5 cats?
It is.
5 cats in an apartment.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm not that much better. We've got 3 cats and a dog in a rather small 2-story house. So, joke's on us.
Hold the line, Greg.
Hold the line.
You
Hold
can
the
do
line.
it, buddy. You can do
We
it.
believe in you.
No more.
Yeah. Get the Swiffer.
So much
golly.
vacuuming.
I know it. Good golly. So we've had Greg and Katie. Nathan, did you want to speak on any of your stuff?
Why don't we let Greg and Katie go, and I will poke at people's characters. That's really what I'm
Very
here to do.
Poke.
That's fair. But I suppose. Well, let me say with regards to Nana real fast before I forget. I didn't even talk about her, and I love her so much. I've pulled a lot of broad strokes ideas for Nana from a very early point in the game. I don't think it is considered spoilers anymore that she is the sister to the previous chief of her town. That was...
What?
I know! Insane! How could they
been
have
so
kept
long.
this under wraps so long since session
only-
1?
It's only like 5 minutes into the episode you find that out, but
There's deep spoilers there, man. You can't expect people to watch 5 minutes into an hour-long episode. Come on! These kids got ASMR to
got
watch.
things to do.
Yeah.
TikToks to
And
watch.
whatnot.
Yeah. But I was told from a very early point that my character would have the option to be related to an important character in the campaign, and to then lose that character as part of the broad strokes of the campaign story. And as was established back in the Valley of Odin, way back in the double digits episodes of On the Backs of Gods, long
Season
before
1.
we hit the triple
Yeah.
digits. I suppose we call it season 1 now. We have seasons, guys. What the fuck?
We might as well.
You guys want me to figure out where the seasons are? I can do that.
Ooh,
Like,
I was wondering.
I was thinking, I'll have to talk with you about that. I will have
I'll
to
figure it out.
Find some of those good end of season cliffhangers and whatnot.
Hell
Definitely when you stopped hauling a corpse around. That's the end of the
Yeah.
season.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a very big milestone. Great big exhale for Nana. She was very happy about no
Oh,
longer
did
having
they?
to haul around her brother's corpse.
Terrible.
I'll figure it out. Give me a minute. I'll
Yeah,
tell you
yeah,
how
no,
long
of
it-
course. I
Just
believe in you fully, Katie. But with Nana, you've got a lot of different shades of. I figured with her being a ranger, I could pull a little bit out of Aragorn, sort of a reluctant leader type, forced into leadership rather than choosing it themselves, and maybe not being the best at doing so. I've also leaned more in recent times into sort of embracing Nana as neurodivergent for my own personal read of her. She views everything through her special interest, which is to say monster hunting. Her specialty. It's what she knows, it's what she does, it's what she eats, breathes, sleeps, and sweats. And bleeds. She
Ooh.
does monster hunting. She knows how to protect a town from oogly booglies that go blah in the night. And that's about all she's got. And now she's solving international political conflicts. And she's like, I'm
There's the
19!
Oogie Boogie.
So there's a lot going on for her, but a lot of it is teenage panic, imposter syndrome, dealing with growing up, loss, grief, trauma, all the fun stuff, the stuff you love to read about.
Relatable on many levels.
Mhm.
Stir it all up. Yum, yum. Don't mind if I yes.
Being 19 and in charge. That's so terrifying.
Yeah.
So
God almighty, I would have shat my pants at 19. Are you kidding? No, I wasn't even in. God, I don't think I'd even gotten to GPC at that point yet. I wasn't out of UGA where I had crashed and burned. Lord, I have stories, y'all. I have stories. But that's neither here nor there. Point of the matter is, at 19, I was in no position to be in anything resembling a leadership position. And never
That's
mind,
fair.
the person who's supposed to be spearheading a very important mission for the safety and well-being of everybody I know. And the rest of the continent.
Right.
Ah!
Heavy stakes, heavy stakes.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
it's
So a lot of her motivation is fear. But isn't that all you feel at 19 is just fear? Or is that just me?
Yeah, anxiety will do that.
Anxiety will do that. It's true.
I think there's a version of 19-year-old that isn't aware that they're not supposed to be in charge, which is even more dangerous.
Oh yeah.
That
yeah.
is true.
Mm.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
all
it
met
kind of
those
tends
people.
to veer like you don't have a lot in the middle. You have a lot of people who are like, "Oh my god, what would happen if I were responsible for all of this?" And then you have way on the other end, "Yo, I know what would be fun. Hold my beer." So, And then we conscript these people and send them off to fight wars.
Yep.
Sorry, politics. Let's move away from that. Anyhow,
To answer.
Nathan. Oh, yes.
First, episode end of 4, starting of 5 is when Ave was stabbed in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Death. Episode 39 / beginning of 40 is when you got back
Oh,
to
wow.
Glunder.
Wow.
Wow.
So you carried around a corpse for a long time.
2 months by Nana's
Yeah.
reckoning, almost.
Yeah. Why
Lot.
Had to think about that for a very long time. You gotta understand, this kid grew up in a town where something dies, the thing you do is burn it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not a question of why, it's like, that's what you do, dumbass! Or else you get the corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like,
instead
you know-
he carried it.
Do you want corruption? Because that's how you get corruption. You have to burn
Now
it.
that I think about that, how anxiety-inducing it must have been for y'all to carry around this corpse,
Nana
just
was
expecting
a wreck.
corruption to like.
Nana was a wreck.
Mm.
She was constantly checking the box to make sure that the corruption wasn't seeping in, and it was a
Yeah.
lot. Every night. Every time we stopped to rest, we couldn't rest without making sure that the slimy fuckers weren't getting in it all day.
Mhm.
It was bad.
Oof.
Didn't like it. No.
Wouldn't recommend.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. No, sir. I don't like it.
Hmm.
But at any
Corruption.
rate. Yeah, no, the corruption is such a fascinating entity to me. It is almost like entropy personified. I've seen a lot of, I suppose, unless we're still on the one topic, I wouldn't mind branching into further discussion about On the Backs of Gods more generally.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hit into my Nana question
Please.
immediately.
Oh.
So
Slash
I like Nana has this very traditional feudal lord role that we have not seen exercised yet at all.
Mm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's always so there is a responsibility for her to hunt a monster, and in this case it's that's Bosch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up. And
Bosch and also McKeel in order to get Ave's crest back and punch the fucker in the throat.
So
Yeah.
He has a list.
Yeah.
well, yeah. So there's
There's a
okay.
list.
That's exactly my point.
Mm.
Is that there's no way that politics back in the valley doesn't erupt to the point where the group is forced into a decision. I like as a GM, that's what I would do that to you, like for 100%, and I would make it clear that those two things are separate from each other,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and force Nana to choose
Oh.
Mm.
between protecting her people and hunting the monster. And hunting a monster that probably just endangers this continent, right? I'd give her an out. I'd say, you can let these people get eaten by the monster and go home and save your people. The people you're responsible for. Remember them?
Yeah. Very much so. All the time. Every second of every day. Uh-huh.
Anyway, so
Uh-huh.
the question here is that presuming that happens, Nana's really going to have to put her foot down.
Yeah.
And have
Yeah.
you thought about that? Either way, like whatever she chooses, she's going to have to put her foot down and be a leader. And
Yeah.
some people in the group will like it, some will not. This
Yeah.
group is really it hasn't been that confrontational. So it hasn't had inner conflict.
Not as much. Not
Yeah.
as much. Like
As
some,
much.
but more in terms of like bumping up against in the process of getting to the same place.
Yeah.
Not very much in terms of different players at cross purposes or player
Yeah.
characters at cross
Yeah.
purposes.
There's been
Um,
tensions, but not like actual.
Yeah. And like the problem is with Nana's calculations, I don't know if I should speak to a definitive this one or that one type
Oh,
of
yeah, you
answer. It would probably veer into spoiler territory if I did. So rather than speculate, I will say that things that have been chasing around Nana's head have definitely included the potential for harm from both Bosch and from the kiln. Assuming the kiln is McKeel, is the guy who stabbed Ave, is the one who has the crest, and is also potentially one other person trying to end the world in addition to Bosch. Her calculus involves which one is going to be the more presently threatening to the most people, and how much can I trust my judgment to not be colored by the bias that I know I have in wanting to kill the man that killed my brother.
Fair.
These are things that have been chasing around her head for a long time, and I guess it makes sense that she's been having dreams about flowers that she associates with death and corruption and trauma.
Yeah. That does make sense.
This has been part of just her headspace for I guess the debate has been since we found out that Bosch didn't die, which was unpleasant. Deeply
To say the
unpleasant.
least.
To say the least. Like, after she had gotten so many reassurances from all of her friends, no, it's fine. We gave him over to the authorities. They've put him in the dirt. It's okay. You don't have to worry. And then she gets a pig in her house, and it all falls down, and she has a hate letter from a serial killer
Oof.
Yeah.
saying you'd better get used to the idea of being compost.
Oh shit.
She's 19!
Hey, he tried to recruit her too.
Yeah, he did! Is that better? I don't think that's better.
You end up as compost either way.
I mean,
True.
yeah, it's true.
It's a different kind of death threat.
You know.
Your compost.
Yeah, you know, just fun, friendly, flirty things. We love to get letters like that,
Put
don't
that
we?
on a shirt. Inevitable compost.
And just put like the wiggly woos.
Yeah.
You know.
The sign. The
You know.
runes.
I need to look up what those runes are called. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Jillian again.
Yeah. When she's not doing Tech Week.
Well, I'll just say this: as a leader, Nana has been able to get away with being the good cop so far.
So far. I mean, it's been difficult. I think she is perhaps the only individual that leans towards lawful in the entire party, and has been, I think, since day one.
Sticks to her guns.
She tries really hard. She feels like there is a lot to be said for being consistent and doing your best every time you're asked to do it. And, you know, it is a conundrum for her to try and be present and support people that she's looked up to as friends, as peers. In the case of, like, Roshan and Fen, she regards both of them as older siblings, practically. They were, you know, relatively to her, not very much older, when she was quite young. And generally, I'd say she kicked around with them and not very many other folks. So it's difficult for her to tell them no. It's
I know.
difficult for
I've
her
noticed.
to.
Yeah.
It's
I've
difficult for her to
noticed.
try. You know, it's a whole can of worms trying to manage friends and family. Because it requires a different set of skills from nurturing a bond with friends and family. It requires that you be able to make difficult decisions and be able to tell people things that you know are going to hurt them, but to be objective enough to be able to find a way to phrase it in a way that won't make them feel as though they are actively the problem when they probably aren't necessarily. It's just how they are coming at the situation and how your approach to the situation as a manager is not enabling them to be on board with you.
I know. I'm this is why I'm like shocked that she's a good manager at 19.
I
Right?
mean, she's trying. She's
Doing her
trying.
best.
She is. She's doing her
That
best.
is because you're right. That is the correct answer, is like to frame it in such a way that, hey, this is how we accomplish the mission. This is what I need from you. This is where you are, and this is what I need from you.
Yeah, yeah. And
In a positive
that
light.
is God, that is hard enough to learn to do with strangers. That is hard enough to learn to do with for example, a peer who isn't older than you.
Mhm.
It's hard enough to do as a teenager, period, when you are so accustomed to looking to other people for direction and for instruction, and to then be looked to for direction and instruction. And what the fuck do you do with that? There is a wide gulf between what Nana would like to be able to do as a leader and what she is capable of doing. She does try her best, but she's very aware that a lot of the people skills that would make her a better leader are skills that Ave was very, very adept at, and that she consciously made the decision not to compete with him on by being a ranger, defending the outskirts of town, not being involved in town politics.
Yeah.
I,
She made a choice there.
She wrote herself into the Aragorn timeline. I didn't do this for her. She did it herself. Wouldn't necessarily call it exile, but like,
It's interesting.
It's a division of labor between siblings.
that is
Yeah.
basically, I think, how
You've got
Nana
that
would
right.
have felt it and framed it. I would love to talk about the sibling dynamic between Keld and Nyx.
Yeah, speaking of the division of labor,
So let's speak to the roles that Keld and Nyx fill on the team. We've got Nana and Fen are both rangers. They're fairly fleet. They get around quickly on the battlefield. They deal a fair bit of damage, and a couple of them are decent at buffing up other people on the battlefield. Roshan is sort of our specialist, a little bit of a glass cannon, but sometimes able to pull out some gobsmackingly impressive spell work on occasion. What is it that Keld and Nyx do for the party, and how does that express itself to you guys?
You know, I feel like we're two sides of a coin.
Tell us about the coin.
Well, on the one hand, you've got a heavy-hitting, but also, I guess, sort of nurturing paladin.
I love that archetype, by the way. Adore it.
Me
Adore
too.
it.
Yeah.
Big ol' soft teddy bear knight with a heart of gold. Are you kidding me? Ah! I love him so much.
I am biased, yes.
He's great.
And
You know.
then,
And then you've got Nyx.
Then what? Who does what she wants?
Yes.
the heart of
Yes.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yes.
the heart of mushrooms.
Who has more HP? It probably has, if I use everything, more HP the entire party combined. And the one that can heal herself. And
I'm
others.
just saying,
It's-
guys,
Good healing.
if
She's a
all of us
nightmare, and I
died,
didn't
Nyx
mean
could
to.
carry.
It's
Nyx
like a
could
nightmare
carry
with
any
good
encounter.
intentions.
Yeah, it is. Entirely.
Amazing. Incredible. And sometimes it looks
She's
like a crab.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
a crab, sometimes it's a terrifying, corrupted wolf thing. I don't know.
Sometimes it's our beloved consent spider.
Sometimes it's
Ah, yes. Consent
who
spider.
doesn't have much health at all. It's like one hit point and gone. But
That's why they are best served as, the consent spider. They are there to ensure that everything is okay and all is above board and so on and so forth.
Do not touch the consent spider.
The consent spider does not consent to be touched.
I don't know if there's really a specific role she fills. It's,
I would say that there's a lot about Nyx's character archetype that does mechanically for our bunch of sad sacks what the combined might of like a lot of Saga's stuff and a lot of Tordrick's stuff.
yeah, it's like a
kind
combo
of like-
of what we lost.
A little
True,
bit,
yeah.
yes. Yeah, in terms of like healing power, in terms of just sheer chaotic energy.
Awesome.
In terms of, I mean, like you could even make an argument that like Gorbjorn being the barbarian that Christo played him as, Christo was very adept at finding moments where things would lag to just inject action. It didn't matter
To
what it
steal
was.
things.
God damn it,
Yeah.
Gorbjorn wanted to do a thing and he was gonna do it, by God. And so,
And yeah, that's kind
You
of
know,
Nick's energy.
sometimes the group is taking too long to make one decision, and I have to help.
Unless you want to get married, don't propose to Gorbjorn.
it's true. It's true. Gorbjorn will say yes. I think that we can speak accurately to that. Christo, if you're watching the VOD, please feel free to decry us in the comments for our slandering your character if we are wrong,
Decry.
but I don't believe we are.
And I
At
feel
any
like
rate.
Kel is more of a support role.
And you know, God damn it, we really need a support role with these sad sacks. They need supporting, and thank God for
Agreed.
Keld and his great big beautiful furbolg arms. He can just hold all of us. Give us a big old crushing bear hug, tight enough to squeeze our souls back into our bodies.
Yes, bring them back.
Hey, Nyx tries to help. It's just you probably should ask the more responsible person first.
Yeah, you know,
That's all it
It's-
is.
Come to the big
You ain't
pot
wrong.
before you come to the little pot.
Yeah.
Word of
Yeah.
advice.
I mean, especially for anything pertaining to tea, guys. If you need poison, go to Nyx. That's fine. You want tea?
I'm
Please
just
go to
trying to
Keld.
help everybody build up their poison resistance, and no one
Mm.
appreciates it.
Just trying to boost that constitution.
Yeah.
Nyx, you need informed consent for that. You're the consent
I
spider.
offered the tea. You said yes.
Yes.
Therefore,
You did not tell me
This is
the tea
true.
was poison.
you've all been informed that I
suppose-
poisoned both of us,
Yeah. She did
and
not
am no
know.
longer allowed to cook. Therefore,
Forbidden.
that information is there.
I suppose. Then, in that case, the fault is mine. But not as a big believer in second chances and giving folks opportunities to try
Well-
again.
You're more than welcome to have more tea whenever
wanna
you're
try
up for it.
If you feel like hating yourself in the morning,
Yeah.
you know. I feel like it would be much more fun to just get drunk, which, you know,
Got
is
that
probably
covered too.
something. Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. With that never-ending jar of
That alchemy
liquids.
jug.
That alchemy jug,
That
that's the
4
one.
gallons of alcohol for
God.
us.
Yum. Delicious. It's bound to spill over into something eventually. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
do we have any other points we would like to cover before we move into some randomized character questions?
Let's do it.
Randomize.
Roll dice.
Randomize. We roll dice.
Does everyone
we roll
have our
dice.
handy dandy list up?
I do.
I've got it.
Cool.
And Katie, I believe you said you would be keeping tabs on which ones we had already done.
Yeah, I'll mark them all.
God bless you. You're fantastic. You're so good. All right. So, friends, I suppose for the sake of ease of use, why don't we just all of us roll at the same time? And let's round robin this. Go maybe
Real dice.
counterclockwise around the around the Twitch stream face. Let's start off with Nathan, go Katie, go Greg, go me. And I suppose, Nathan, if you feel like participating in these questions in particular, you can. They'll be character focused, so if you want to maybe ask about one of our characters, maybe something related to the question, that as well.
Okay. I don't have the list, so I'll just have to tell you what I got.
That is fine.
God.
I will have to read them aloud for the viewers at home anyway. So, Nathan, when you are prepared, what number have you, sir?
I rolled a 100.
Ooh, fancy. Hitting it out at a park. Ooh, lovely, lovely. Question number 100. What, currently, is your character the most curious about?
Oh gosh.
That isn't spoilers. Okay.
That isn't spoilers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, well, we could call this something low stakes, something we're curious about another character, perhaps, or if we feel like there's too much potential for spoilers, we could always invoke a reroll. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I'll aim this question real quick, and then
Very
people
well.
can decide if they want to reroll it.
Please.
Okay.
So Keld has been part of the group for a little while now, and I mean, he is an obvious protector role.
Mhm.
He seems pretty actually open and friendly to people, but things have happened. There's
Sure
things he
have.
just can't unsee.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Roshan's brush with death and the things that happened around it.
Ah,
Mm.
yes.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
That
Um,
is very curious.
Has Keld reached a conclusion about that? And does he interpret that as dangerous?
Good question.
And what, actually, more to the point, if he does interpret it as dangerous, what measures is he prepared to take to protect Nyx from this danger?
Don't gotta protect her. She's already dying. It's fine.
Still need protecting.
It's fine.
Stop dying!
Cut it
I
out.
can't control it.
I feel like he's definitely very curious because, in a way, everything that happened around Roshan's, very quick death was very sus.
Yeah.
And yet, I feel like going off of Roshan's reaction to things, that puts him at ease ever so slightly. So he hasn't been he's been able to keep other things priority threat level in his list of threats. It's not on top. But it's definitely there. And I think he's kind of looking for an opportunity to address it on a more personal level with Roshan. But finding that opportunity has been a little tricky lately.
Yeah, there's been
It's
a
been a
lot
little
going
chaotic.
on. Library visits are
Um,
not great for one-on-ones with friends.
I would like.
Unless-
How would Keld feel about a Roshan and Nyx solo mission to go deal with something if the group was split that way?
Ooh.
If Nyx was alone with the shadow.
Because she does
Interesting.
go flying with him every night almost.
Right.
Right. It
There
happens.
is that.
How does Keld feel about that?
Definitely a little apprehensive. Kind of like the parent waiting up at night for their kid to come home sort of apprehension, but not
Aw.
like the, oh no, my baby's
Where have you
probably in
been?"
jail or something. We
Yeah.
haven't reached that level, but yeah, it's
No, no.
definitely there's some concern.
Mm.
He definitely hasn't shown it outwardly, but
There have been moments.
So, and I have to ask, like, how, like, I guess he's just not there yet. But what measures is Keld prepared to take? Is he prepared to confront somebody? Is he, because we all know that if Nyx has suspicions, surveillance begins immediately. The
Right.
consent spider comes out, like,
She's gonna ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She gotta find out.
Like what?
but
Definitely.
Keld is a paladin. He's not a surveiller. He's a confronter.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah, it would probably more be like a spur of the moment, like, okay, wait, what? Rather than a like, let me just watch, observe, sort of. But if I don't know, if maybe the shadow decided to do something extra creepy, that would definitely like, I think, garner a reaction.
Okay.
What that would be, it kind of would depend on the situation. But yeah, I honestly I have not thought on that long enough yet. Thanks for bringing that up.
No problem.
This is
to
all
think
about
about.
Things to dwell
stimulating
on.
them brain needs. Yeah,
Add
you know.
that
Yeah.
to the list to dwell on for next week.
Right.
Right. Hmm.
This kind of line of thinking is what I learned about how to be a vampire GM.
Ah.
Ah. Hell yeah, dude. Oh,
It's great.
tasty.
Oh boy.
Mm.
I like it.
So I'm curious about Nyx.
Okay.
Kind of similar to the questions pertaining to how Keld is reacting to Roshan and the shadow and everything else. Has everything that happened following Roshan's brief death impacted the way that she views Roshan at all? Is there anything that has changed how she views him in relation to herself, to Keld? Is there anything that has given her pause?
Gosh. About him dying, no. She has, in general, spore druids have a weird relationship with death. And
That makes sense.
in general, like, they're
Yeah.
okay with it entirely.
It's
like,
all part of the
it's-
cycle.
It's part of the cycle. Like, if you know it happens and it was supposed to, then that's great. If you come back, cool. Like, that's, you got
Yeah.
an interesting cycle going on.
Right.
Like, it's a weird thing to mess with this corruption stuff too.
Yeah.
Those are just undead things.
Mm.
But I don't think there's anything that's made her go, I'm not gonna be friends with this guy anymore. Like, that's suspicious. Because
I feel like she isn't the type to go on like solo flights with a person that she was suspicious about.
Oh well, if she did,
mean-
they probably wouldn't have made it back if she was suspicious. Because he was turning into forms that do not keep their stats well. She could easily take care of that problem, but like, the group didn't react like it was a bad thing immediately, and you guys had been with him
Right.
for a while, and it's just like, okay,
I
so
guess this is okay.
and
It's something that Nana is deeply curious about,
Uh-huh.
but genuinely has no idea how to ask about it. It's like, it's one of those things where it's I hate to compare it to like something where you're in like elementary school and maybe like you meet a deaf kid for the first time and they have a hearing aid and you're like, that's weird. What is that? What does it do? And maybe when you're a kid, you don't have the presence of mind to stop yourself from walking up to that other kid and be like, what's that? But, when
Yeah.
you're a grown-up person, you have a few more, maybe second thoughts about just walking up to somebody and saying, what's up with this thing that makes you do what you do?
Yeah, she will do that once, the thought actually comes into her brain to do that is also
Right.
a thing. Like,
Right.
if you remember, immediately after that was our big fight with
Yes.
Bosch. And all of them, and then immediately after that, we joined up with Russ's group. So her brain's
Yes, yeah.
gone.
It's
Yep.
been a little everywhere.
Yeah,
Her brain's
no,
gone
totally.
and not focusing on that at all.
It's been a whirlwind, guys.
Certainly
It's been a
not
whirlwind.
now.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's where it's at.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Just let that 8 intelligence figure out that maybe she could ask that question and it'll
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
She just
Yeah,
has
there
to
you
think to do it.
Yeah, yeah. She'll get there. She'll get
Eventually.
there. Yeah. Playing low intelligence characters can be so much fun, guys.
It's so entertaining.
Ah,
It's great.
Unhinged.
oh yes. Oh yes. Always. I guess for me, for Nana, now that she's kind of satisfied her curiosity about the flowers, and we kind of have a direction to move in next with regards to Bosch's efforts, I think a lot of her curiosity does kind of revolve a little bit around Keldon Nix. Because they are the newest additions to the group. They're the people that she knows the least about. And they're genuinely interesting people. She's... You have to understand. Nana's seen a lot of interesting stuff outside of Galunder while being a ranger, but she didn't meet a lot of different people. And this adventure has taken her around to so many more towns than she ever actively engaged with visiting before. I think probably anytime she visited a different town, it was on family business because Ave was in town and, the whole family had to be there and it was a whole thing and you have to wear the special dress and yes, you do have to wear the special dress. No, you can't wear pants. That whole thing. So this is the first time that Nana is getting exposure to new people, new views, new ways of life, new life forms outside of people that she's seen for the majority of her life. Ink was the first changeling she ever met. Our delightful Loxodon party family out in the Valley of Odin was the first Loxodons she had ever met. The very first tiefling, maybe, she's maybe seen some tieflings,
so
but has
cultured.
never been on first name basis with a tiefling until Eagle. She is rapidly learning that the world is so much bigger than it ever was when she was smaller, and I think her instinct when Keldon Nix came into the party was, well, these are two extremely new and different people from what I'm used to. I'm going to assume that they are normal.
Interesting assumption.
It was not maybe the smartest assumption, but she wanted them to feel like they were not oddities in the group, since it was going to benefit everybody for us all to travel together, at least in the short term. She wanted it to be a good period of travel with some other adventuring persons that hopefully wouldn't want to stab us in the back or kill us.
Right.
That was the hope. And it hasn't happened yet, so I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Positive.
That is interesting. So you've got Nana coming from a town where, everyone was pretty similar. And
Fairly,
meeting
yeah.
all these new people. And then I think Keldon and Nix are from a more
Yeah.
varied
Yeah.
community.
Melting pot, I would
Yeah.
say it sounds like. Given, everybody is...
So we're
What is the phrase? Welcome to the pot? What is
yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
basically.
it?
You fit in the pot you're in.
There you go. I'm so excited for Nana to visit Keldon Nick's parents. That's going to be a future thing if
One day.
we wind up
One
going
day.
there. But I am going to petition for us to go there because I want it. But God almighty, it's going to be so much fun meeting Keldon Nick's folks. Very excited. Next number, I suppose, unless there are any follow-up points for this one, my friends.
It's time for another roll. Yep.
Katie, I believe you had our next number.
Yeah, it's 24.
24.
So, which other player character does your character find themselves having the most in common with?
Ooh,
Huh.
nifty. This is an interesting point in time in game for that question.
Most in common
Yeah.
with. I guess I'd have to say. I almost want to say Nana.
That's a big mood.
Just-
It's like, and I need Keld and Nana to hang out more.
Right.
I feel like Keld would be such a soothing and centering influence on
We
Nana.
have not got to hung out much.
We have not got to hung out much, and
You should
I'm
do it.
very bummed about
There's a
it.
reason for that.
I mean, there's been a lot happening.
Yeah.
If the camera pans to Keld and Nana, like nothing will be exploding.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
Will
We
be a
gotta keep the
calm,
exploding
civil
happening.
conversation. But
Right.
I don't know. This campaign does that though. You guys do a good
It
job
did.
of keeping like a low key interpersonal conversation interesting.
I love using conversation as a tool for exploring character dynamics. I think that everything that is interesting in dialogue comes out of two different characters having two different worldviews, and then through conversation, whittling out a sculpture of a new worldview that is a combination of both.
Ain't that the
I-
way to do it, though?
I love that shit, man. I love that shit. I live for it. Golly, I mean, I think similarly, there's an awful lot that Nana has in common with Keld. I think the impulse to help, the impulse to assist, the impulse to protect is extremely important to her. I think that maybe in another lifetime, in a different world space, in a different life, she could have been a paladin. I think that she has in her the makings of the kind of conviction that characterizes the class. I think that it is a lot of what drives her intentions and her choices. It all revolves around, like, straight up, Gesundheit.
Pardon me.
That's quite all right, my friend. Straight up, on Nana's character sheet, when I created her and made her personality traits and so on, her ideals I took out as greater good. It is each person's responsibility to make the most happiness for the whole tribe. And bonds, my family, clan, or tribe is the most important thing in my life, even when they are far from me.
Wow.
And she's, I think, really strongly motivated by a want to ensure safety for the people that matter the most to her. So I think definitely, out of everybody presently in the party, I think the one she is most alike to is Keld. I think in the past that could have easily been Fen, only because they hung out so much. When I was hashing out broad strokes character ideas for her, I've mentioned before, I thought of her as the the Black Widow to Fen's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Two fleet, flighty, not super overpowered characters compared to some heavy hitters we could mention, but still capable and fast enough to be able to keep up with said heavy hitters. And the two of them bouncing off each other for so long in the wilderness meant, I think, that a lot of their personality traits overlapped for a long time, until recently, where Nana is starting to take in more different influences, and she's changing and she's growing, and I think that's resulting in a lot of friction with Fen that I don't think she anticipated.
True.
Yeah, I like
She
that
cares
arc
a
a
lot
lot.
about him, but you know,
Yeah.
he's developing in his own way, and
Right.
she
That's the
wants
thing
that for
about
him.
childhood friendships.
Mhm.
God, I know, right? It's like you start out as a certain kind of person, and then life happens.
Mhm.
And sometimes you are a similar enough person after life happens to still gel well with those same friends, and sometimes not. It is not Nana's hope to find herself distanced from any of these people. Not from Fen or Ro, especially since they're old childhood friends. She wants very much to stay as close as can safely be managed with Gorbjorn and Saga and Tordrict, but of course, Tordrict being in a magical coma that he can't respond in, kind of a moot point, except maybe to look in on him from time to time with a scry. Gorbjorn is doing his thing with ink, and hopefully they're doing all right. Hopefully. Is it safe for us to message him and find out? Who knows? Will it put a target on his back? Maybe.
Possibly.
Yikes.
These are all things that go around Nana's head at night.
Great.
And now we'll also have that discussion with Dagwood circling around in there too. It's just a delightful little circle of voices. It's a fun time.
It's a lot.
Any additional follow-ups?
Oh, I still have to do Nyx's.
Yeah, I was like,
Yes!
so.
Oh no, you're right.
It's-
We didn't come back
It's
to you
so
yet.
hard to say because
I know.
there's two sides to her. Of growing up with Keld, there's a lot of similar ideals that they have, but also there's that other side of the coin thing that we were talking about.
I mean,
And
they're siblings, so they can't be the same
yeah,
in everything.
they're not the same.
They can't. No.
And I think that what's not similar is what pushes her to be much closer to Roshan. Like, and
I can see that.
yeah, probably also leads to why she's not questioning things.
Right.
Yeah.
Keeping
that
some
tracks.
things close to her chest as well, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like she's got secrets. I've got secrets.
Yeah, that's what
of
everyone's
course.
got a
It's
secret.
normal.
Yeah, but it's like we're hoping to be maybe a little bit more communicative going forward, perhaps. Who
We'll
knows?
see.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
communicate in hell.
Who talks to people?
Not me. Alrighty. Well, if we've nothing else at the moment, unless you
Next
wanted
number.
to elaborate further on your connection with Roshan.
I think it's pretty obvious. Like they both have that. Like I'm gonna say the goth. It's the-
They are the goth
Yeah,
friends.
Yeah,
They're the goth friends.
that
They've got the
gossip
lipstick
together.
eyeliner going
and-
on. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I can't wait for the
Like-
Nyx Roshan bachelorette party. That's gonna be
It's
lit.
gonna be great.
I mean, he
Ooh.
pierced her lip and everything,
did.
So it's like they're
But the after the wedding bachelorette party. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's supposed to happen first, Nyx. Come on.
Does she?
No,
I
she
don't know.
probably doesn't. No.
Probably not.
No, now that I think about it. Almost definitely
It's
not.
clearly an after party
Mm.
thing, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it is now.
It is.
Yeah, that's how it's happening. No choice in the matter. Alrighty. Next number?
I rolled 51,
51.
which was interesting.
Let's have it then. Ooh, okay, so let me look up the definitions for these.
Yeah, I just
so that
pulled
I've
it up.
got... that's a good
Yeah.
idea. We doing hard brain thinky ones for you this time, cultists. appreciate us.
Making me
Yes.
know definitions to things.
This question
Boo.
was: is your character the most swayed by ethos, pathos, or logos? We're getting philosophical.
Yep. I don't know those.
Indeed. I got you, my dude. I have one potential definition. Greg, would
Let's
you like
go
to
with off of that.
furnish?
I don't know.
Huh?
Give us a definition. And we'll go off of it.
Very well then.
Right.
One source that seems relatively. All right, yeah, we'll go from the St. Louis Community College definition on pathos, logos, and ethos. Ethos, logos, and pathos are three strategies commonly employed when attempting to persuade a reader or a listener in an argument. Pathos, or the appeal to emotion, means to persuade an audience by purposefully evoking certain emotions to make them feel the way the author wants them to feel. Logos, or the appeal to logic, means to appeal to the audience's sense of reason or logic. To use logos, the author makes clear logical connections between ideas and includes the use of facts and statistics. Ethos is used to convey the writer's credibility and authority. When evaluating a piece of writing, the reader must know if the writer is qualified to comment on this issue. The writer can communicate their authority by using credible sources, as I went looking for when I wanted to find a definition for ethos, logos, and pathos, rather than just going on Wikipedia. Although, these days one could say Wikipedia, with all the right footnotes in place, is quite good as a reference material. So there you are. Pathos, appeal to emotion. Logos, appeal to logic. Ethos, appeals to the reader or listener's impression of the writer or the speaker.
I think the obvious answer for Keld is pathos.
Yeah, no, that seems very accurate. Would you please expound further on that? What about appeals to emotion are moving to Keld?
I feel like he just functions more on an emotional level rather than a very strongly analytical or authoritative level. I mean, of course there's gonna always be a higher authority, but that doesn't always sway him in one direction or another.
Which makes it very
Emotion.
different from your basic baked pumpkin
Right.
spice latte paladin, right? Which
You're
would
very
be an,
right there.
would be an ethos boy.
Yeah.
That's very true. That is very true. Ethos would be for what I think a lot of people disparagingly call the lawful stupid paladin archetype, wherein the law is the law, and that is the imperative thing to maintain because it is the law.
Right.
That's a fun character archetype to play if you know how to play it tongue-in-cheek enough to bring everybody else along for the ride, for the joke.
Yeah.
It can also be a slog to sit through.
Right. Yeah. I did
You use
have fun
wisely.
sort of building his I guess archetype around something a little different than that sort of.
What would you
usual
say you
paladin vibe.
changed about the archetype there? What choices did you make differently consciously from your typical paladin archetype?
So when you build a paladin, you of course get to choose an oath. Or at least that's one of the aspects. And his is definitely more of a not such a strict an oath to a god. It's not that sort of thing, or an oath to authority. It's more an oath to an ideal. Or, yeah. So
More
it's
to
just-
a principle rather than to a system?
yeah, definitely.
I vibe with that. I vibe with that a lot. That's very good. Would you say maybe that perhaps in a different universe that might lead him in the direction of perhaps a monk type character? build?
That could definitely well be a possibility.
love thinking
think
about what
it's
ifs.
sort of maybe if the current things that are happening with his sister and with corruption weren't in the picture, he would
Yeah.
definitely be a different character.
That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. He wouldn't feel the need to bulk up and protect as much if the corruption weren't doing what it was doing.
Right.
Nana can relate to
I
that.
can see that.
Hmm. What about you
I think
guys?
for Nyx, I think she believes that she's following people's logic when they're trying to convince her to do things, but it is more of an emotional thing.
Yeah.
But she's like, yes, that makes what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, what you are
Definitely.
saying that resonates with me, which means it.
It's very logical. Yeah.
ah.
I think that's where she falls.
I love her. I love her so much. God, she's just a beautiful disaster. I love
She
her.
really is.
All of our characters are kind of that. I will highlight a little note from Jillian that has appeared in our chat. Delayed proclamation from the DM. All characters are support characters. Everyone has their moment. Everyone read Rovers through the campaign. Occasionally, someone gets sent over for an arc. Then someone else gets sent over. Depends on what's going on.
That sure has been the case.
Yeah. You know, we do our best. We just sort of like juggle things around as best we can and try and accommodate situations as they come up. Golly, for Nana, this is a tricky one. She is, I think, at a point in her life where she doesn't have stability enough to rely on Logos as much as I think she normally does. I think she was being very truthful with Snotra when she said that she does aspire to prudence. She aspires to pragmatic solutions because those are the solutions that have proven useful and effective in the duration of her time as a monster hunter. The practical solutions, the pragmatic solutions, the prudent solutions are the solutions that have saved lives. And so that has been her preference. That's been where she has wanted to lean. But I think it is more out of a conscious desire, or maybe a subconscious desire, to have a little more control over her emotions. I think ethos, or pathos, gets to her a lot more easily than she would like it to. But she's young, and she's got a lot going on in her life, and I don't think that it is necessarily a mark against her that she does struggle with that as much as she does.
I have a follow-up question for Keld.
Please.
So he is, and you've played him as such, really, a creature driven by pathos, and I got that from him. But also, we've seen, what I know from a viewer about the past of Nyx and Keld is that they're very much so actively engaged in the hunting down and slaying of cultists.
True.
And these were cultists that had names, and we've kind of gone back to that and seen that. And I guess what sort of gymnastics has Keld done in his own head to make his peace with hunting down and killing cultists and still being a creature of pathos? Because a lot of that, when you go out into the world and choose to kill, for most people, a very big part of that has to die or get set aside. The good part of you, the pathos part that can have an emotional connection to people, has to be like, put down in a nice little glass case next to your pancreas, securely placed there, and then you don't have access to it anymore.
Interesting, yeah.
But he does.
Right.
And the dark side of that, of being able to have access to that, the hack that humans have been using forever, is a very specific and extreme othering of the people you are killing.
Yes. I think it is, when you break it down, definitely that sort of technique of basically seeing them as agents of corruption. So that's his way of rationalizing, okay, I can destroy them. If I remove them from the earth, then that's removing corruption from the earth. Which, I mean, is a losing game, but
Yeah, yeah,
he doesn't have that losing game mentality, so
yeah.
And I guess at that point, how far does that logic spread of aiding corruption?
hmm. How far?
It's not like there's not an answer. Three
not-
it's like you can
I know, it's like, how do I answer that?
Yeah.
Brain go, nor.
Yep. No, that's very true. I mean, in fairness, Kelt's got some
mean, maybe-
interesting conflicting stuff.
Maybe
there.
we're not even sure quite how far it goes yet.
yeah.
Because to be fair, he is still new to this. How long have we been traveling? Not that long.
Us together has been over a year, like a year and a bit.
Over a year
With
now,
them, it's
yeah.
been what, Brett, a month and a half, 2 months.
Thereabouts. Yeah.
And a year is forever in combat.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's true.
True. Yeah.
If you spent a
Mhm.
year like
Mm.
hunting down and killing people with Nyx, that is
That part,
a lifetime for most people.
that
Mhm.
wouldn't have been a year because
Hmm.
Bosch
Oh,
had
okay.
not made it over to the continent until they did, like right
Yeah.
before they did,
Right
Okay.
before we did.
Right.
Okay.
So
all
we
right.
were just dealing with the smaller.
like regular
Yes.
corruption stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So largely,
So-
cultists themselves weren't as big a problem for you guys until Bosch hit.
Yeah. And until we encountered the holes and whatnot.
The pits.
The pits, literally. Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling to find a way to answer that.
No,
It's
you
an
don't.
complicated
There's not like an answer to it. So,
No.
but I just there is an unresolved juxtaposition of what a gentle giant he's been portrayed as so far
Mm-hmm.
versus the act of
The mission
hunting
that
down
he
and
had.
killing.
Right. That's very true, yeah.
Nana will relate to that as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
The monster
very
hunter.
thorny.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at what point do you call them monster?
Right.
That's the question. Like, shoot, what was the name of the poor,
To be fair, I feel
luckless farmer that we chased off from
Oh.
the
Bradley,
last time?
right.
Bradley.
I was gonna refer to
There,
that
but for the
interaction.
grace of God, you know?
Yeah.
Bro could have been in that cult. And he had a name. He was a normal ass dude. He could have been turned into a bomb.
The whole
goo
experience
bomb.
with Gunhild, threatening like Kelda Nyx's family and then
That
killed
was bad.
doing such a blow to Sunny, I feel like those were two big moments for him.
Yeah.
That's definitely things that need to be sorted out about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's hard when a character wants to do good and to be good and to help. And that is predicated on doing harm.
Mm.
and figuring out where that harm needs to go and how far that harm needs to go.
Right.
Therein lies the rub, my friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the next time, there's a Keld Sunny, major cultist interaction. I'm curious to see how much he sees them as a person
Yeah.
rather than, you're a parasite that I'm going to purge.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I do imagine that being a bit of a struggle.
I can see that. May I ask real quick? I think you probably mentioned it before, Bird, but I might have just missed it. Which oath is Keld's paladin oath?
It was.
Mm-hmm. I am familiar.
It,
Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorites. Played it
I
back in
think, I think you're
3.5e.
ancients, aren't you?
Yes, thank you. I was like, I didn't write down what it was
Oath of
called. I just
Ancients?
wrote down what
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
like,
it's Oath of the Ancients.
my customization of it was. I was
Yeah.
like,
Got it. Got it. To do with your community and so
yes,
on.
yeah.
I get you.
Thank you.
What was
Well,
the...
I know everything, guys.
Yeah, Katie knows everything.
I got my index
I'm
over
just
here.
here.
You know.
What about the Oath of Ancients to you encapsulates Keld better than any of the other oaths?
What spoke to me about that?
As I understand it, Oath of Ancients is mainly to do with, if not spirit worship and veneration, then a connection to a place, to a home, to a land,
Mhm.
to a community.
That right there was it, honestly.
Yeah?
'Cause he's all about his community and his family.
Mm-hmm.
So his oath is basically centered on, preserving the light that, comes from this community. And also, like, I think that's why he comes off as so nurturing, is because he's very much about not letting things weigh you down and sort of keeping your own self a kindle. Like, just that sort of nurturing vibe.
That is extremely wholesome. God. Oh, Keld just as a person is such a bomb to have on this party with, like... Nyx is fantastic to have along with us. I love the hell out of Fen and Roshan so much. Nana, my
We love
daughter, I
everybody.
adore
We
her.
love 'em all.
Everybody is a sad boy disaster.
Mhm.
Maybe.
We desperately need some self-kindling light that that can help to maybe stoke ours up so that we can maybe nudge each other along a little
I
easier.
did feel that was also something missing in the party as well.
Yeah,
That helped me make that choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tordrick was a
Tordrick.
big facilitator of the group, the
Right.
party being a unit and united and built around. Like, he was such an excellent grounding force for the group as a whole. And I think Nana really, really missed that. Really missed that a lot when Tordrick yeeted himself into an ancient artifact and fell into a holy coma where he gets to have, endless deity
Holy coma.
boinky boinky with 9 sisters. He's having a great time. She's very happy for him, but god damn it, he held the party together.
Yes. Missing some of that glue.
Yeah. I mean, Nana is not built for that, obviously. Like, if she's not built for interpersonal peopling as a leader, she's also not built for interpersonal gluing of a crew together.
Yeah.
Like, she's got good berries and band-aids.
I can offer you this.
Can I offer you a good berry in this trying time? God, at least she's not smelly.
was a fun tangent on that one.
I love tangents. Follow-up questions, tangents, all good friends. Did we have anything else we wished to cover pertaining to that last question?
I got my poke in. I'm good.
Cool.
I think we're on to the
I
next
think I'm
one.
good.
Very well. I believe that is the one that I rolled,
It
which is
is.
number 95.
Oh. Scroll
Number
up.
95. How did your character learn the languages that they speak?
Oh.
I'm not going to answer that question.
It's probably spoilers, isn't it?
Spoilers.
Giant lives with Kel.
Yeah. Lives with giants.
So I think that one's just a you question.
I suppose that really does kind of cover
Tell
it,
us
don't
where
it?
Nana got all this studying.
Well, studying not so much, I will say. What happened was Nana, when I was conceiving her for the start of the campaign, started off with Common, Natch, and Dwarvish for a nearby Dwarvish town that I had conceived was, within trading distance of Gulunder. And that she may have had some, chances to be on friendly conversational basis with some people from there. In addition to Elvish, which she got through Fen as a result of their friendship doing ranger shit in the woods. And along the way, I think they picked up Giant as a way to have call signs that wouldn't be immediately obvious to most humanoids on the off chance that, they had to deal with a more sentient threat than, a runaway corrupted bear.
Right.
So,
Makes
that's
sense.
my breakdown. Not so meaty on the bone, that particular question.
Yeah, that one was
No,
not.
you know,
Yeah.
That one's a real simple
No,
one.
rather lackluster in comparison to some of the others. But we have more questions, don't we? If we wish to continue, my dears.
Would you like to roll another mech?
Yeah, maybe you should just get a new one.
Yeah,
After that.
I might pick a new
that
one
was
just so that
probably
we
a
can...
reroll.
Yeah, that was sad enough that did rather require a reroll. I don't want to be the only person answering a question. Well, I'm not sure if Nix or Keld participated very much in this story. We sort of delved a little into this in a previous episode. The question is number 21. Does your character have any noticeable scars? If so, what are their stories? Nana's got one or two besides the one that she talked about, which was very lowball. I can mention that one, but anything from Keld or Nix in particular?
See, the one that I had come up with, if it was going to be talked about during that time, is a spoiler one. So I will not bring that up.
Shit! Damn!
I will tell
do I
you,
need to
you
reroll
probably-
again?
Yeah, I will say it's
Okay.
like she's got one on like the back of her leg.
I think this is a reroll again. Go again.
Yeah, she's got
Too
one.
spoiler heavy. Too spoiler heavy. You can't
Does
have.
ice shoulder count as scar?
Right. As I was wondering.
I suppose probably so. Kind
It's
of. Maybe.
mentally scarring, right?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I think this'll be a lot better. This'll be a lot better. This is much more broad. Number 91. What is your character's guiltiest pleasure?
Huh.
Hmm.
Guiltiest pleasure.
Guiltiest pleasure. What do they indulge on their most indulgent self-care day? What do they do? What is the thing that just gets them right at the heart?
Good question. Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like we
I
haven't
feel
really
like
had
Keld
a-
almost doesn't have a guilty bone in his body to have a
Right.
guilty pleasure for, but I suppose do your best.
Yeah.
And like Nyx just does everything she really wants to.
Yeah, y'all
Right.
just neither of you have any issues about anything you do.
Nix just doesn't feel bad about it.
Why do you have
Yeah.
guilt?
Why wouldn't you do that?
What a question.
Wait. Nick's okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is there any guilty pleasure associated with tea roulette?
Ooh.
She does enjoy that a lot. It's so fun.
I knew
'Cause
it.
she doesn't even know if like she's used that plant before because she can't keep a journal to track these things.
Oh my god, honey.
'Cause it'll
Is
just
there
get
any
ruined.
guilt
Crying.
associated with pointing tea roulette at someone else?
Hmm.
Maybe a little, but
Maybe a little.
it's still
Only a
a
little.
lot of fun. For
Is
her.
she compelled to do that at all?
to get other people to drink it? Kind of.
Yeah.
Just
I
'cause-
mean,
just to see,
did
because
see
you know
that.
you never know. She might drink it and it doesn't affect her. But what if everybody else? You gotta see if the poison this plant works on someone else. or
anybody's a
it's-
guinea pig, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, like she being whatever it is that she is, that came from the mountain snows or whatever.
Right.
You can't
She
guarantee that the
exists.
poison's going to affect her body the same way as the other
Mhm.
humanoids in the party. We can't have incomplete data.
Everyone
no sir,
else
no
is
sir.
something else. We gotta test it.
figure it out.
Yes.
Fair.
Robust data. That's what we need.
I have to have the data before I actually try to make a poison. You know.
Yeah, all the data
Yes,
that we
that makes
don't write down and
sense.
just kind of just keep in the brain meats.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine.
No one's been poisoned with tea in a while.
In a while, that is true. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute.
Give me a couple days.
It'll happen. What
Oh,
is
boy.
something that, like, if not a guilty pleasure, then I think, what is something that gives the most purest joy? What is something that just your character does this activity or indulges in this treat or like reads this book or whatever, and it is just the most fulfilling activity of their goddamn life.
I feel like for Keld, it's always going to be food centric. And
That makes
since I
sense.
don't think he has a strong, like, financial, like, concept of, I guess, fiscal responsibility, shopping is kind of like he enjoys that.
Guilty
Like,
pleasure.
I
How
mean,
did I-
he was the one buying donuts when all
Yeah.
this shit was going
Oh
down.
my
We
God,
literally
you're
were eating
right.
donut when Roshan died.
Yeah.
Uh,
that was
Yeah,
the case.
that was a great
Donuts.
donut. Oh, that related to that. Nick's other one is gambling.
Oh, yeah?
obviously.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
yeah.
yeah, not a guilty
Hmm.
pleasure. She feels no guilt for doing it, but
No,
oh, yeah,
but
she
she
loves
certainly
it.
enjoys
These are
it.
just games, right?
This is just a game where I
Yeah.
might take all your money.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
it's
that's
just
part of
for
the rules
fun.
of the game.
It's-
That's what we agree on when we start.
Yeah, it's just how it works.
Yeah.
He
Goodness.
was eating a donut while watching your friend. What a day. Anyways.
Oh boy.
What about Nana?
Golly, Nana, I think, as far as guilty pleasures go, I think that she has a weakness for theatrics and for shows. I think that it's always been something that's fascinated her. Acting, disguises, stuff like that. I'm sure performing troops came through Galunder from time to time, and put on shows of skill and put on plays and what have you, and recited Eddas and whatnot. But it was always something that fascinated her and felt more out of her reach than anything, because like golly, you got to stand up there in front of everybody and they're just staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like the act of watching performances and participating in shows, I think has always been something that she has gotten more enjoyment out of than I think she's willing to admit to most people.
Interesting.
I mean, she wasn't
Yeah.
thinking about that when she volunteered to go up with Bosch. She was just thinking, okay, if I just watch this fucker do his wibbly woo up close, I'll be able to see what the fuck he's doing. And she didn't.
I see.
So that worked out fine.
You tried.
You did try.
This is one long campaign of, aw, you tried.
Yeah.
That is the summary of the campaign in a little nutshell.
Good stuff.
You know, fun and interesting.
We're all fun and interesting.
We are all fun and interesting. Should we roll some more dice and see exactly how much more fun and interesting we are?
Sure.
Let's do one more.
Yeah, I think one more round should round us out pretty well if y'all are up for one more.
That sounds good.
Righto, righto. Very good. As before. Second verse, same as the first. I believe we began with Nathan last time around. Is that so?
Yep. 68.
Marvelous. 68. Oh dear. Okay. So this refers to player character to the left and player character to the right. Let me read it. We'll see if we want to re-roll. How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
The question is, the player character to your left and the player character to your right are both telling your character two different versions
Oh,
of
boy.
the truth. Who does your character believe?
Okay, so that'd be easy for us to do since there's only the three of us.
I mean,
Right.
this is true.
Character-wise.
We could round robin
It's
that
just
pretty damn
us,
fast.
Yeah. Who the
Yeah.
other two?
I mean,
But it's so well. Okay, based on so that's Nyx and Nana.
essentially like Nyx, Nana, and Keld between the three of us.
Yeah.
It ain't. If Nana were having,
Yeah, I
like,
think it's
Nyx
hardest
and
for
Keld-
Nana to pick this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Us. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
no.
yeah.
Yeah. No, obviously y'all would believe each other over Nana. Nana gets that. She has no hard feelings.
I
about
mean, you guys tried to tell us that you met multiple gods and fought a dragon. At the moment,
Right.
it hasn't been proved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it. Well, we'll get there if you would like to join us for a little bit longer. I'm sure we'll find an opportunity to introduce you to Loki and Bragi and
Show us your gods.
yeah.
Show me that he turns into a dragon.
I mean, I don't know if Loki will do it on command is the thing. He's like a cat.
Mm.
You cannot tell him to wag his tail. He will only do it to please himself.
Fair.
As for Nana,
Manipulating the
it-
manipulator.
no, exactly. You can't do it. You can't do it. He's too good. Between Keld and Nyx, it would really depend on what it was a question of. You know, it's like
One of
two
us tells
different
the
versions
truth,
of the
and
truth.
the other tells the other truth.
Yeah, no, exactly. Ooh. It seems to me as though if it came down to a matter of, jeez, gosh.
I think it
that's-
depends on the subject, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Can you
no,
count
no,
on-
100%.
Can you count
Who
on
would you
Keld to
accept
tell you
tea
the truth
from?
about Nyx? Can you count on Nyx to tell you the truth about the corruption?
Well, that has not been volunteered yet. And like, you know, with decent reason. I think if Nana knew those reasons, she would agree they were good. She doesn't. As it is, it seems to me like she... I think before she started getting to know Nyx better, she might have leaned more towards Keld. But I think as she's been reaching out more to Nyx and finding herself wanting to connect more with Nyx, I think she's more willing to believe her. across more topics. I feel like situational awareness would prevail in every single situation, and if Nyx was on fire and was protesting that she didn't do anything, and Keld was telling Nana the opposite, I feel as though the answer would be rather obvious who she would believe, but outside of that, probably a much closer contest.
Yeah. Fair. Oh boy.
All right, next dice roll.
Indeed, indeed. Katie!
Let's see. What does 56 have for us?
6.
I think we're gonna skip this one because it mentions about being when you
When
were
they
a
were a
kid.
child.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
That's
spoilers.
a no-go.
Sorry, guys. No go. Reroll.
No.
No backstory bullshit for these two. Sorry, guys. You gotta wait until we uncover it in game.
Okay, scrolling to 47 and no more childhood. God dang it!
Damn!
Why?
The dice really want you to spill your guts about this, Katie.
Yeah, I'm just
Spill
gonna
the
keep going
beans.
until one that doesn't say childhood.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay.
How's this one?
38. What treasure, item, or artifact that your character has collected during the adventure is most important to them?
Well, that's interesting because this is relatively new. Y'all don't have as many, like, goodies that have been acquired through dungeoneering. What is...
Geld's acquired
I don't-
something from some cultists, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's very
Oh, yeah.
true. He sure did.
And we hate it.
But is that... Yeah, I was gonna say, is that his favorite? Is that his favorite? Are we sure about that?
Gosh.
All it did was cause me trouble.
Mm,
Well,
yeah, you know.
And it may have been my fault, but listen.
Mm. Mm. Well, I know for Nana at least, the irony for her is that I think her favorite item, beyond just having her two primary swords being one from Valder and one being inherited from Ave's wedding, the boots of familiar ground, I think, are actually the thing that she is the most fond of, and hasn't really used because, as in all things, she is constantly thinking about it in terms of practical use, and it requires such a specific lead up where the people that you are trying to affect with the ruse can't see it go up, or else they kind of know that it's not there. You know, it is not a thoroughly practical last minute effect to throw into an encounter, and there have been so few opportunities where we actually had an opportunity to set up an encounter to our own advantage that it's just never come up for her, and it never occurred to her to use it for fun. God, she's so sad.
Poor Nana.
yeah, do more
She's
fun
doing her
things.
best. She needs to learn what fun is.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying to show
This is a
everybody.
hard time to find the fun, but you know, keep at it, Nyx.
I got you.
I'm telling you, that bachelorette party's coming.
It is.
Oh,
It has to be.
It's gonna get crunk. It's gonna be fly.
Immediately, we get back to the tavern, bachelorette party, I guess. Maybe. I
Hell
don't know.
yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know if any of the items that she's gotten, like, I have my sickle, which I wouldn't, like, it's very useful. Same thing with the spell storing ring. It's very useful, but actual importance to her, I wouldn't, like, it. If she got a new weapon, it'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah. No,
The
that makes
ring
sense.
she hands out to everybody else all the time. She's like, yeah, you want, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, use the
So-
thing.
Sharing.
You know, we haven't seen it go anywhere, but maybe this ring from Russ. might be her
Maybe.
most important thing.
Oh, I mean,
That
We'll
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah.
It's super cute.
And
Aw.
it's
I
re-
love that.
you know, it's great.
I will say I think my favorite item that I found was that amulet from the river.
Dude,
which I
yeah.
haven't
It's
actually
really great.
used its, I don't think I've
But
actually
you
used it
haven't-
yet, but the idea of it is very nice.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Sometimes
great for
magic
him.
items are
Mhm.
wild and a little hard to wrangle in. But I fully believe in Keld's ability to make use of that at a further point down the line.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll need it eventually.
Oh, for sure.
Here I come, friend. Whoosh.
If we go
Yep.
for something that wasn't collected, then I would say, his cooking pot and
Yeah.
Nix's smaller one are probably
Nice.
their actual most important things.
Right.
Their most important possessions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Things they brought with them.
Yeah. Makes
Wow.
sense.
Lugging 2 cooking pots across the continent.
Mm.
You know, just
Just
girly
what you
things.
do,
That's what
Normal.
we do. They thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. It's useful.
You know, it is. Except when you're sneaking.
Yeah.
You know.
I can say both times I think that our characters have tried to sneak, we did fail in like the same
Yeah.
exact way.
Oops.
Both
Now-
times trying to go after cultists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We just
It just
hard to
doesn't work
sneak
for
up
them.
on.
It doesn't work. You just gotta attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why traps don't work, you know? If you gotta run in and attack, traps aren't fast.
No.
No.
We
No,
sure
generally
tried.
traps also work better when you have like a home turf advantage and you like sort of know where you're placing it in
Yeah.
the
makes
terrain,
sense.
which like we've not been in home turf advantage situations for the
It's been a
vast
while.
majority of this campaign, which makes me worry slightly for my bingo sheet, but you know, it'll be fine.
Well, look at there.
I'll set a trap eventually.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Who's
On to our
next?
final question. Don't be a repeat.
What you
Have we
got?
done 63?
63?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Does it involve childhood?
It's a good
No,
question.
it does
Oh,
not.
okay.
Ooh, this'll be.
Oh, boy.
Oh, this vibes with some stuff from Nathan's questions earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
So, is your character willing to risk the well-being of others in order to achieve their goal? Mm. Stares into the camera.
Mm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Therein, I think, lies the rub for Keld as a
Right.
character.
How fitting.
Hmm. So, what is Keld's mental calculus on cost benefits as far as mortality goes? Harm.
We hate to do it, but we also will do it. And considering his goals, I guess there's the one on the one hand you've got wanting to save his sister, and so far the only idea he has for that is stopping corruption, which it's a big that's a tall order. We're not even sure if we can do that. But
Yeah.
having the goal of, I guess, saving your sister, and he's kind of proven that he's willing to harm others to do that. So
Yeah.
yes.
There you go. I mean, like you say, hate to do it, but it definitely does
But
seem
we'll
to
do
have
it.
held out.
Does it hurt him to do it?
I think so. Like, 'cause I mean, even like I guess if you take that interaction we had with Sunny, or not Sunny. I guess we'll go back to Gunhild when there wasn't exactly violence, but I guess the threat of violence.
Violent words.
Yeah,
Mhm.
violent words, and in that exchange, Kel definitely, felt for her, and while she sort of spoke with venom, he, kind of countered that with, I guess, what's the word? Compassion, maybe? Because,
I would say compassion is maybe a good way to put it, because
Yeah, he
you
did.
know, like, it's separate, the ideas of sympathy, empathy, and compassion.
yeah. Those were the words I was looking for.
Which
So,
of the three is Keld's go-to? The big question.
yeah,
You want to noodle about it.
I'll noodle on that. You guys are giving me a lot of noodling questions.
I love noodling questions. They're my
Mhm.
favorite.
It's hard to it's hard to be that compassionate to your enemies and
Exactly.
Yeah.
kill at the same time without really turning that knife on yourself.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard for Kel not to think poorly of himself.
I could
Yeah.
imagine that. I could imagine that's probably a struggle that he would have. Given his goals, given his stated ideals, given his stated preferences as
Right,
far as
'cause-
interacting with others goes.
In essence, he's sort of putting out the light when that's not what he wants to do, but he feels he has to do, so yeah.
In order to
Can you-
preserve other
can
That
life.
he-
can't feel good.
Can he look over it like a happy, normal Furbolg community and think I deserve to be there?
Mm. Ooh, good question.
Ooh, oh no, honey.
Mm,
Oh, baby.
Things that'll plague him when we go back.
yeah, I was like, these are definitely thoughts that will develop as we go through the campaign for sure, because he sort of left the community as, I guess, uh, under the guise of being like, all right, I'm going out to protect them, but then after going through all this, we'll see how how we're
it
feeling
feels.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if anybody
What
wants
cost?
a good example for exactly, like what is it like coming back home from war,
Mhm.
essentially, and how it changes how you relate to the people around you. Look no further than All Quiet on the Western Front.
Hmm.
Excellent book. It's been adapted a couple different times into films, different versions do different things. It's definitely a character study on that exact type of conundrum where you set off with good intentions to protect the people you love. You go, you fight the good fight, and the fight takes a lot out of you.
Right.
And you come home and you're not the same. And what do you do with that?
Good question.
It's a hard question. It's a
Mhm.
hard question. I anticipate that will be a difficult one for Keld to answer. Is there any
Yeah.
similar question lingering in Nyx's mind, or is this maybe just something that is perhaps more close to Keld's heart given his particular ways of thinking?
About whether she belongs there.
Or
What was
if he
the
feels
the
like
original
she's had-
question?
The original question was,
It's been a while.
is your
Is y-
character willing to risk the well-being of others in order to achieve their goal?
In the same way, yeah, she's out there killing the cultists for the same reasons as him.
Sure.
And she's definitely not on the same mission, though, as they're out and about. Like,
Yeah.
She's got
It's
her own
little-
things going on.
yeah. And while it's a mission to save herself, it's weird. There's going to be certain people that she's not going to be willing to risk their well-being.
Mhm.
But with the cultists, for example, they're literally saying that we want to become the dirt anyway. So she's like, "Okay, you're welcome. I'll put you there."
It's true.
So
I'm literally doing them what they asked.
they asked for it.
Doing them a favor.
It's just it's a
A wild
kindness.
children.
Yeah. I think that, from what we know, that's their main
Right.
goal.
Yeah.
Thus
yeah.
far.
And I mean, it's a hard goal to pursue from the outset.
Mhm.
To preserve life as well as you can, and in so doing, naming a chunk of life as anathema to the rest of it. And
It's
having
not like
to.
she's saying that all corruption needs to go, because, all forms of life she thinks is fine. It's
Sure.
this
The
is
aggressive
currently, this current very aggressive version of this
Yeah.
is not
Mm.
okay.
That's a good point.
This
to
is an
make.
Yeah.
invasive species of corruption,
it's
and I
currently
don't
being
appreciate it.
It's currently being invasive and wants to be the only thing there is, and that's not okay.
Right.
Does Nyx treat it as a matter of pruning then?
Kinda, yeah. You're just fixing the balance.
I think like that's the thing is I think Nyx, she really came off to me as like she has the the othering thing figured out. She has people sorted.
Yeah.
It's not complicated, but for Keld it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, because he feels things in ways that Nyx does not. You know?
If you just leave it at that, he feels things.
I
Yeah.
mean, he does feel things. Nyx also feels things, but
She does.
Keld feels things in profound ways that affect him on almost a level that I wouldn't necessarily say borders on being given visions, but like it is a way that Keld has of looking at the world and at people around him where he can form potent images of people as they portray themselves.
Mm.
Oh, Jillian might be answering DM questions. Oh dear. Oh.
Anyone got DM questions? Put it in the chat.
Quick, put DM questions in the chat if you have questions
Flood
in
the
the chat. Flood the chat. Flood the chat. Golly.
I stole Jillian's box. I can like.
It's all right. We can put her in defense spot.
Then she'll
Ask
be in the
Nathan the
middle.
questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ask Nathan about the library.
Yeah. Nathan, what about the
Nathan, you have the
library?
Wikipedia available.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Can you read it to us, cover to
Yeah,
cover?
It's exactly what we need, you know? It's all we need. So, for Nana, golly, such a difficult question. She would love to be able to resolve as many problems as possible with as little violence as possible. She cares a lot for preserving communities as they are, balances as they are, ecosystems as they are. She finds the circle of life a comforting thing. The cycle of life and death, as it normally is, without the corruption, makes sense to her. She understands that destruction must happen for new things to be born. Her preference would be not to be the catalyst for that destruction if she can avoid it, but I think that she understands on a certain level that as a monster hunter, she's there to take living things out of spaces where they will do harm without any other recourse for redirecting them or mitigating the harm. it's a bitter, necessary sacrifice that I think she's too familiar with. I think she's had to put down half-corrupted animals. She's had to do mercy killings for animals that she's found with broken limbs in the woods. I think she's accustomed to making sacrifice decisions on a fairly broad level, on a level that she can be comfortable distancing herself from. Now that she's getting more on the world stage and the questions of casualties are growing by the dozens, by the hundreds, by the thousands, the calculus is much weightier.
Right.
And she wonders if she has the right to even run her fingers over the beads of the abacus, you know?
Yeah, she's stepping into things that are so far, I guess, outside of herself.
Far beyond her normal scope, far beyond any specialty that she might have, far beyond any skill that she knows confidently she can bring to bear. It's a weighty question for her, considering the role that she's been grappling with and the goals that she's set for herself.
Yeah, if something ugly doesn't happen on you guys' return to the home continent, Jillian is officially the nicest GM ever. The nicest GM ever.
Man, it's not gonna happen. Man, we're gonna get so fucked up.
Nothing
Oh, we're just saying you're the nicest GM ever, Jillian. You're the best. We love you.
I think Nathan's the only person that ever said that. I'm talking into my phone like that does something.
It is. You're on the stream.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, yes. This is true. Yes.
Here.
You're live. Sometimes I can
Yeah,
still
nobody ever
hear
says I'm
her
nice.
voice.
Except me, who I'm like, I'm so nice and pleasant, but nobody else
You
is
are
that.
nice.
Jillian, you
nice.
are the nicest GM ever.
Hard.
Yeah, you're great, honestly. You're super good.
I've seen some triggers not get pulled in my time behind the production screen.
Is it hot in here, or is it just me?
Well,
That's
Text
good.
messages next time you see one. I'm in.
Yeah, yeah.
Send her
yeah.
all the ideas.
Also, the audio is delayed, so I'm probably stepping on people. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
walk.
It's fine.
Yeah, you fine. You fine.
I'm gonna say if she just watches this, she might get some ideas.
Oh God. Oh no. Well.
Ways to hurt us.
You know, we need more trauma.
We
There's
do.
not enough.
Always.
not enough.
Naturally, never.
Were we here to do something else? I don't.
No.
I mean,
No, no. I feel like that was the assignment.
Yeah. Okay.
cool.
Yeah. Anything further for that question there?
I think
we're good with that
we
one.
wrapped it up.
Is my number the last one we have in store?
I believe
think so.
You'll never believe it.
Oh no.
What'd we get?
69, baby!
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, what is your character's
Oh, of
sexuality
course.
slash relationship with sex?
Should've seen
Ladies
that
and
coming.
gentlemen, it's the 69 sex number question.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Let's keep it tasteful, kids. Tasteful nudity only,
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
just like Markiplier.
As an only
Well-
child, do you talk about sexuality with a sibling?
Mm,
I don't know. I don't think so.
Does one? Not in my experience.
Yeah, I've never done it.
No.
Nope. Had no interest. None.
Nope.
Nah.
No. No. Mm-mm.
That's you.
Not even as adults.
Nope.
No.
Abso-fucking-lutely not. I don't care what my sibling gets up to. I don't need to know, and I don't need them knowing what I get up to. Thank you very much.
Word.
Mm. My attitude. I can't speak for Keldon Nix, but
No, I mean, I think like the most they're like, our parents are making out again, and they're like,
Yeah.
yep.
yeah. Ew, bleh,
go figure.
gross. So what's gonna happen when Nix and Russ start doing that every time we message them?
You're just like your father.
Guess you'll find out.
I guess we will. I guess we will. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. We all know it's gonna happen. What about Keld? Keld generally seems like a cuddler.
Yeah. I don't think he's really had much opportunity for the romantic endeavors, adventures.
That makes sense. I mean, my impression of their family and their community is largely that y'all are considered family, considered related. Am I off in my impression?
I mean, he has his like,
We have our family.
yeah,
Yeah.
but there is a wider community as well.
There are other
Yeah.
families within the community. Okay. But even still, it sounds to me like, based on how y'all have described Nix and Keld specifically, they didn't really do a lot of rolls in the hay with a childhood
Yeah.
sweetheart or what have you.
I
Not so
was
much.
Too busy doing other things, you know?
Yeah,
Poison,
Maybe.
doing poison.
mushrooms.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you what
Maybe.
happened in that town. That's all secret.
Secret. Well, we all
Secrets to
agree
find
Nix
out.
was doing mushrooms, and that's how she became a Circle of Spores druid.
Yeah, just constant, you know, for sure.
Communing with the mushrooms is what she called it.
Ah, yes. No, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Hopefully none of them looked like gross old rotten man's fingers. Toes?
Yeah.
Was it toes? No, it was
Don't
fingers.
No, it's Deadman's fingers.
Yeah. hmm
Pulling all my
Nasty
lore
shit.
out.
Nasty shit. Never again. Never again. As for Nana, she's figuring herself out. She is quite young still. She has had flings. She has, I think, had short-term relations, not just like on camera. She has gone to bed with pins. I think mostly feminine ones thus far. She is not opposed to masculine folks. She finds a lot attractive in Volder. But it's more a matter of she is. I don't know that I would say she would describe herself actively as demisexual, but I think that a lot about her is built around she does not let loose unless she feels she can trust you. And so that doesn't lead itself well to a vast quantity of romantic and intimate relationships. She'll engage with sex. She's not opposed to it. She isn't prudish about it. But she has a hard time letting go enough to lean into that vulnerability and be comfortable. So I think that she's ambiguous, maybe bi, maybe pan. Who knows what the fuck her deal is? But
I have
she
a-
needs to let her hair down first.
I have a pointed question. Well, does she feel any responsibility to? I mean, maybe I just don't know the culture. Does she feel any responsibility to like remain pure at all for the possibility of Valder?
It's the way that I've conceived Nana's relationship with relationships. It's not really. Purity doesn't come into it as much. I mean, think about it. Ave and Hertha were doing their own thing for, I think it was years before they finally got married. They had a kid on the way when they got married. Nana is not preserving her virginity for Valder or anybody else. She's doing her own thing. At least as far as that's concerned, she feels confident there. She does not consider that to be a mark of disrespect to Valder, because their pact is built mainly out of political necessity. Like, they both owned that to each other's faces upon the proposal. That was part of the bargain. And so, to her mind, so long as the understanding for the both of them is that whatever their individual romantic needs might be, if they decide it's together, great. If they decide it's with other people, fine. They will maintain a seemly political marriage for the sake of the reputations of the people they represent and care about. For Nana, it's the leadership position, the family that she comes from in Galander. For Valder, it's his sister, the Jarl. Both have a lot of expectations. Both have a lot of, just a lot of preconceived ideas about what should be done with regards to marriages, and she's willing to play along to a certain degree, but I don't think she feels as though this is a chastity pact. It never was written as such.
Yeah.
From what she and Valder discussed. And she's okay with that. She does not mind if Valder becomes intimate with somebody else. It was something that she wanted to commit to because she felt at that moment it was the best thing she could do for her people, because she didn't feel like she could jump in and take position as chief. Like, being Ave's sister, she had a claim, but she didn't want it.
There's an interesting rub in this world that I don't think has been explored, which would be interesting. Because I think there's kind of this Nordic sense of a little bit more of a freer sexuality that just kind of pervades the culture. But at the same time, you have the age-old medieval rub of this is a political marriage, and the purpose of that is to produce an heir. And
it may or may not be is the thing.
Oh, okay.
Because
all right.
Only because Valder wanted to establish that he had his own connection and his own position that he could be content with, without contending for the Jarldom with his sister.
Well, no, but he will eventually need whatever it is that if he's content with what he has.
I see.
He will still, at some point, require an heir.
That is something that Nana has not maybe thought much about. It's probably somewhere in the pile of things to consider.
Oh, yeah.
So many things in the one.
Nana is off fighting World War I right now. She can't.
You can't consider that.
Basically, basically, yeah. She's off in the trenches, and
That's less of a question for Nana and more of a question for Jillian and maybe some future content of the rub between this society that does have a freer sexuality to it, but you
it
know,
also has this feudal caste system of like
it has
we
to
need
produce an heir. You can't get around that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting friction that I think is sort of unique to Nordic sensibilities, because you have to also notice that Nordic traditions were far less masculine centric than we have assumed them to be or read them post retroactively to be. A lot of Nordic traditions were much more feminine focused. Women were considered to be wise and powerful in magic. Math was considered to be a kind of magic. Women were meant to run the finances of the home as a result of that. It's an interesting society. It's an interesting society that imbues all of this innate specialty, this innate power or knowledge into a whole half of their society, but then also is like, but also you must pop out more of you, and like, you know, a good few of them if you don't mind, please.
Yeah. Regardless of where you put the power, it has to travel down through the generations somewhere,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and which is the requirement for an heir that never leaves us.
Yeah, yeah. It's always a matter of, especially in, I guess, political groups that are inherited, political structures that are like inherited from one person to another, that is bequeathed by one head to the next. It's especially important there because, of course, it's like our family wants this, and we want to make sure the kingdom does this because that is what our family likes, and so we have lots more of us so that we keep doing the thing that we like. It only makes sense in terms of wanting to satisfy a regime's goal. But, you know. Julian does also mention men weren't supposed to do magic. Odin was super sus because he specifically decided, I don't know about that. I'm gonna give up an eyeball so I know how to do that. It's like,
Yeah,
I guess if you're gonna be that metal about it.
I guess it's I see she killed the historical stuff like that. I just I think there's probably a way to do it that's still fun. Of like you can take many paths to get there, but there is this kind of zero-sum game about producing an heir.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can make it a matriarchal society if you want, but power still has to go someplace.
It's true. You need new bodies to take the place of the old. It always happens.
Just
The
go
old ones
find them
wear
in
out.
rivers.
Yeah!
It works.
You know, something watery tarts
Yeah,
lobbing around scimitars.
that's
you know.
yeah, and that's that they're gonna walk back onto this continent, and and it might get more political as
It's gonna
my
all be on fire.
That's my evil hope.
Yeah, yeah. The things you ponder about.
Yeah.
Maybe all Valder wants to talk to you about is the fact that you need to have kids.
Almost be a relaxing conversation to have compared to the 1,000,005 topics that Nana has percolating in her head after this "we need to talk" text.
There.
Julian's hinting that the party might get political.
Oh,
Oh no. What?
No.
All right, that's all the poking I had to do with that one.
Anything further from you two chaps?
I don't
Not
think
really.
so. You all find out? Just wait. Wait a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, guys. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out next week. Be okay.
The story must go on.
Hmm.
Oh boy, a party with powerful, morally dubious types that I can definitely pronounce?
No.
Ah. Do we
This
have closing remarks, parting questions, anything we'd
Closing
like to
statement?
ask one another?
Nothing's jumping out right now.
Nothing that, doesn't go into spoiler territory.
Right?
I know.
So-
That's like all the
The
questions
struggle right
I
now.
really want to ask are so spoilery. Golly.
We just need a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Here's one that I would like to know. For Keld and for Nyx, which of the party members that are no longer in the party would your character vibe with the best?
Tortric. I feel
that-
like
It's easy for you.
I
Makes
feel like
so much sense.
Yeah.
Party cleric, man. Party cleric,
Yeah.
party paladin.
sounds like a good time.
Honestly, he's got
That'd
the
be
drink.
great.
You've got the food.
Ta-da.
I can see it.
Yeah. God, we gotta get Tordrick out of his forever coma so that he can throw a big party and Keld can cater.
I feel like Nyx and Saga would be an interesting.
Oh my
So
God,
there's
they would be
interesting
chaos.
for all of
Chaos.
them. There's that, but then also her and Gorbjorn would be a menace together.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
A fucking
God,
menace.
No.
nothing would be safe.
Oh
Not
my
a
God.
single temple,
God.
not a
It'd be
single
so
house,
bad.
not a single lock.
No virginity would survive that.
No purse would survive that.
So bad.
God.
Jesus.
Hmm.
It's probably for the best that Gorbjorn probably will not be rejoining the party while Nyx
Christo,
is here.
come back. We just want to talk.
Oh my God. Y'all.
We
Nana's
just want
gonna
to see
die. It's
how
fine.
chaotic it gets. That's all.
Yeah, that's all we want. We just want
God.
to see what it would be like.
I just want to know which town burns down first.
Jesus Christ. There would be one eventually.
Exactly.
She's still got that fire-breathing potion.
I do, and he'd probably come up with a great reason to use it.
Oh my
You show
God,
up
he
at the
would.
parapet. He's already
Oh.
there.
Yeah. Gum. Bah! Breathes fire. Gorbjorn would. Gorbjorn would. Jesus.
I mean, if we set it on fire, we could see it. So, right? That's how that works?
True.
Yeah, it checks out, assuming the flames don't also become invisible when they hit. I don't... How does invisibility work? How does that work in this game? If you get things on an invisible thing, does the invisible ability turn the thing on the thing invisible as well, or does it not affect it because the effect was already applied retroactively?
Right.
Jillian's giving me a shrug emoji! You get shrug emoji this kind of thing off, Jillian, come on!
Invisible fire. I love it.
Mm,
So, what I'm hearing
Like
is we set it
alcohol
on
fire.
we set it on fire. If it's invisible, we just wait until Ing and his friends show up
Yeah.
and let them deal with that.
That would suck, fighting an invisible
Oh.
fire.
yeah.
Hmm
An invisible
Really
fire
would.
would be terrible.
That wouldn't go well.
No, it really wouldn't. Especially considering this thing is in the middle of that god-awful forest. Like, just imagine invisible fire plus angry spiders.
Ooh. Yikes.
Guys,
It's gonna be
we're
fun.
lucky. Oh, yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Fine. And then we've got a great high-stakes political party to go to where, it'll just be fun and games and not
It's
at all
all
a
just
bunch
fun and
of
games.
morally questionable people with lots of political clout on
They're not morally
Bro.
questionable. They're good people that have to make tough decisions.
Right! Yeah,
Hmm.
just like us!
Hmm. It's funny.
Mm, it's gonna be
I
gonna
mean,
be interesting, guys. It's gonna be interesting.
yeah. Looking
Oh,
forward
Lord.
to it.
I
Is
just
Yeah.
it Monday yet?
I just
Mm.
suggest everyone else gets a party ticket because I don't know if you want Nyx to be the one talking to everybody. and making those
not.
I
choices.
feel
for
like
the
that's the thing Keld's most stressed about right now. It should be Ing, but
group. But really, letting this woman go into a party alone, bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. We have to have somebody else in there. We got to, bare minimum. Well, before we depart, I have a final question for y'all. I know that music is all fun and games. We all do love us a little ditty from time to time. I'd love to know, what is a song that's been burning a hole in your ear recently that has given you feels for your character or for the game or for events that have happened in the game? What music has moved you in an on the backs of gods particular kind of way?
excellent question.
I've got a
Just
few
remember
in
what
my
it's called.
queue, but I hardly wish to steamroll.
I mean, we've already gone over the Enneagram one, so
Yeah,
skip that.
sleeping at last. Sleeping at last, y'all. Big recommendation on that. Huge.
I'll go ahead and the it's been a while since I've listened to it, but like the biggest saga vibe I ever got was from that song I posted.
yeah.
The Pixies
It's
cover.
so good.
From Postmodern Jukebox?
Yeah, from Postmodern
Yes.
Jukebox, the Pixies cover
I
for
might have to revisit that.
It fits so well.
it's just the biggest saga vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look. Oh gosh.
Let me see.
Where is it?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna
we
post
have
it
a
in
one
chat.
from Jillian. B by Hosier.
Ah,
Russ Heartstrings. That makes a lot of sense. I've gotten a lot of Hosier recently. That is some good stuff. I'm a late comer to Hosier, but by golly, I regret being so late because terrific voice.
good stuff.
Ooh. Sunlight. Ooh, talk. Yes, please.
I feel like I'll put it in the chat.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
B by
This
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
tends to give me Keld vibes.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. You gotta love that. How about for you, Katie? Anything recently for Nick's vibes or Backs of God's vibes?
Well, you know, I have a whole playlist. I'm just trying to
do
figure
have a
out which
whole
one like
Right.
actually fits.
Nice.
Like, which one fits
Works
the
for
best
what's
at the moment?
Yeah.
Which
Like,
Well, it could either be something that fits right now, or it could be something that's just
There's-
been earworming into your head.
I mean, if we go off of very recent events, there's a beautiful Panic at the Disco song.
Oh.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Oh.
I love
Yeah.
that song!
Fits
Yeah.
last
Okay.
week very well.
It very much does.
Yes,
Oh
it's-
my God.
Wow. I would not have thought about that. Good stuff.
Fits so well at the moment.
You know, it was an opportunity that was right there.
It was right there.
God, it was right there. You know, we didn't have champagne and cocaine and gasoline, but we sure didn't miss
hey.
it by far.
The day, the night's young. Okay.
That's true. Well, we still have to make it back to the town, and there's a bunch of people selling stuff because there's a bunch of people in for the convention. So, you know, we'll probably be able to find some kind of good time.
Oh yeah.
One that has been earworming me constantly as a sort of Nana influence. Generally speaking, a lot of songs from the Arcadian Wild have been drumming me ceaselessly.
see.
Liar has been great. Oh, shoot. There's another one that is also very appropriate for her, but I think the one that I have really been digging the most is Rain Clouds. Rain Clouds is a fantastic little story in 3 arcs that nicely encapsulates a lot of Nana's character arc through the game, expresses a lot of things that resonate really deeply with her, and fantastic song besides. Fantastic song. Rain Clouds by the Arcadian Wild.
I'm in charge. I get to post links.
You
Yes.
do.
What do you get to do when you're in charge? Look at what you could do when you grow up, cultists. You could be in
Post
charge and you could
links.
post clothes, links everywhere.
Such power.
Power enough. Perhaps one man should not hold it all.
Perhaps.
Absolute power do corrupt, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't have a lot of formative songs.
Well, maybe it's an opportunity to start looking around. I think I have a few.
playlist, you know.
To make a playlist.
Straight up, I have a Nana playlist. I do.
Yep.
I do.
We've listened to it together.
We have. I've listened to Nyx's playlist as well.
Mm-hmm.
Superb. Very well put together. Lots of good vibes. Cultists, if you want to make a character and really have feelings about that character, you can't go wrong by creating a playlist to just make you sad about your character all day long while you just do your other shit. You know, like a normal person.
There was a vampire playlist when I was writing the first campaign.
Oh, cool.
Hell yeah, of course. You kind of have to.
Hello?
Orville Peck. Oh,
Oh.
hey. Oh, wow.
That's a
7
long
hours
playlist.
long?
Yeah, it's my
Zombie
wife.
broccoli.
That's my wife, Zombie. She became the
I
curator
see.
of that playlist.
Beautiful.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
It's just oceanic at this point.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Because, I mean, we drove off into the ocean, didn't we?
True. There was a lot of underwater stuff.
We did a lot.
and- Interesting. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was a great time.
Yeah. Grand time.
It came alive and became not mine anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand. These things do happen.
All right.
Any parting remarks, friends?
This was fun.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
really
that was-
was.
It was fun, and we barely touched any of the questions on that giant.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we
and yet
didn't
I've
need
got
all of them.
questions to ponder.
Always useful. Always useful.
I think we got to some meat.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
good meat in there.
You ponder all those childhood questions we skipped over.
Alright.
Just
Very-
wonder to yourselves, what could we possibly be hiding about all
Yeah.
these questions about our
What indeed?
childhoods? Questions to ponder for the future, cultists. As it is, I suppose, we will start wrapping next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, whatever the thing is. We will be back again, streaming as per normal on the Backs of Gods. Am I remembering that right? We are still on
I
next
believe
week.
that's
I think
correct.
so.
Yes, yes. You can find us at Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You know, all the social things where we yell into the void. You can find our bingo cards that I mentioned briefly on our Instagram. You can find Katie's dice at...
Dragon
The-
Ink Dice. Just Google
that's
that.
the one. Dragon Ink Dice. Please do offer Katie some good business. She's on the convention circuit of late. And I don't think we really have any other matters of business. I thank you all for joining us this week. next week and have a fantasy-filled lark with us. We always do.
Sure is. Always the lark.
Always a lark. From all of us at the Dice Cult and on the Backs of Gods, we bid you a good evening, cultists.
Good night, cultists.
Sweet night, cultists.